Hi, this is Braden Holtby.
Hey, this is Tanner the Bulldozer Bozer.
Hi, this is Brian Burke from Toronto, Ontario.
This is Daryl Sutter.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carly Agro from Sportsnet Central.
This is Jay Onright.
This is Quick Dick coming to you from Toughnut, Saskatchewan.
Hey, everybody. My name is Theo Fleury.
This is Kelly Rudy.
This is Corey Cross.
This is Wade Redden.
This is Jordan Tutu.
My name is Jim Pattison.
Hey, it's Ron McLean, Hockey Night in Canada and Rogers Hometown Hockey, and welcome to the Sean Newman Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, folks. We got a great one on tap for you today. I hope you're having a great Monday morning. I had a great weekend. Got a little painting done. Got a couple archive episodes wrapped up, and it was just fantastic. I'm excited. Happy Monday to you, all right? Now, before we get to us yahoos yelling at each other and having a little bit of fun and hopefully giving you a laugh on this Monday morning, let's get to today's episode sponsors. First off, Mr. Carly Kloss and the team over at Windsor Plywood, builders of the podcast studio table. And on a side note, we've been cleaning it all up so you can actually see it. So all the cords are hid now and everything is looking sharp. But that is the studio table from Windsor Plywood. They made me look, oh man, they made me look good. For everything wood, these are the guys, custom. They do some seriously wicked stuff with wood. When you're looking for custom work, take a look at what the team at Windsor can do for you. Custom butcher blocks, custom live edge tables. I mean, go on their Instagram and do a little creep in, and take a look at what they can do for you, all right? So if you want quality, stop in and see the group at Windsor Plywood, 780-875-9663. Clay Smiley and the team over at Prophet River. They specialize in importing firearms from the United States of America. They pride themselves in making the process easy for all their customers. The team at Prophet River does all the appropriate paperwork on both sides of the border in order to legally get that firearm into Canada and into your hands. Also, they take care of registering the firearm and transferring to your PAL or FAC before shipping them by mail, courier, or bus, or wherever you're hiding out. Just go to ProfitRiver.com and check them out today, all right? They are the major retailer of firearms, optics, and accessories serving all of Canada. T-Bar One Transport since 2002. For more than 19 years, the team at T-Bar has offered excellent service, putting the community first. They are located in both Lloydminster and now Bonnyville. They can cover all your heavy haul needs. In their fleet, they have tank movers, 45-ton pickers, 1-tons, flat decks, Texas beds, winch trucks, and highway tractors. And currently, well, I talked to Mom this morning. Dad was out the door at 2 a.m. this morning. I guess they got a massive tank that needed, T-Bar's finest to attend to. Tip of the cap to you, Daddy-O, who I wasn't getting out of bed at 2 a.m. this morning. For all your heavy haul needs, give the boys a call at T-Bar One Transport, 780-205-1709. Jen Gilbert and team for over 45 years, since 1976, the dedicated realtors of Coldwell Banker, Cityside Realty, have served Lloydminster and the surrounding area. Star Power, providing their clients with 7-day-a-week access service, is a priority because they know big life decisions are not made during office hours. That's Coldwell Banker, Cityside Realty, for everything real estate, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 780-875-3343. And I actually saw that Rick Chesnick was the man of the hour on the weekend. That's the guy you were calling. Oh, get old Ricky Ticky on the phone. Mortgage broker Jill Fisher, you got the house? Well, now you need a mortgage broker. Her name says it all. She proudly serves the areas of Lloydminster, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and Vermilion, and she's looking forward to working with you for all your mortgage needs. And I am a dummy when it comes to this, but what I do know is you can possibly be saving a bunch of money right now if you are getting ready to renew your mortgage. Rates are still pretty good. They have started to go up. But don't take my word for it. Maybe give Jill Fisher a call, 780-872-2914, or take a look at her website, jfisher.ca. SMB billboard is not across from the UFA anymore. You better go take a little boo and see where it's hiding out. Huge shout out to Read and Write, Mrs. Deanna Wandler. I just look around the podcast studio. I see all the things I've done through Read and Write, and they are making me look sharp. Finally, Gartner Management is a Lloydminster-based company specializing in all types of rental properties to help meet your needs. Whether you're looking for a small office or 6,000 square foot space, give Wade Gartner a call, 780-808-5025. And if you head into any of these businesses, you make sure you let them know you heard about them on the podcast, all right? Now let's get on to that T-Bar 1 tale of the tape. Co-owner of Golden Ticket Sports and Hoop Factory, along with the play-by-play team for the Lloydminster Bobcats. I'm talking about Chris King, Shane Tomayer, and Tyler Campbell. So buckle up, because here we go. Welcome to the Sean Newman podcast. Tonight, I'm joined in studio by three Yahoos, Shane Tomayer, Tyler Campbell, Chris King. Thanks for hopping in. Before we start, I say this off air all the time, but I'm going to say it right on the air, is the way the Roundtable works is feel free to jump in at any time. Feel free to ask questions because it's a shit show, and I like it to be that way. And I've been waiting to get around with a group of guys and have a bullshit for a while. So by all means, let's not sit and act like we don't want to talk over each other and everything else.
Okay.
Hell of a deal.
Done.
Now, we were all joking around. Well, first off, it's been a year and 2 days, boys. I got a little Three Trees growler. Selfless plug. But cheers for coming in, boys. A little,
Cheers,
buddy.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Been a heck of a pandemic.
It's been a year and 2 days. Year and 2 days since we sat around. I was saying this before we came in. Year and 2 days since we sat around and we're all staring at each other like, I don't know if we should be here, right? Like maybe we should all go home and kiss
There's
our
a
ass goodbye.
vat of hand sanitizer on the table.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was weird.
There's hand sanitizer behind you. Here.
Soups
Thank
was
God.
pumping that thing like it was going out of style. He was picking up germs in the room. He was pretty sure.
I got a new job, so I'm not allowed to make a dirty comment right now. I don't want to piss off my employers tonight.
Well,
Thank
how's
you
it?
very much.
Maybe I should start. How's everybody doing? How's Tomayer doing?
I'm great.
You don't want to regale us with a tale? I know we were talking about the last time we were on. You had the popcorn tale that had everybody in stitches.
I've been missing popcorn because we've been to the theater particularly once since the last time the four of us were together. So it was one time. That's not a lot of theater popcorn. Now, when they had the Festival of Lights just before Christmas, and it was a great big long lineup down 49th Ave, I did get out of my vehicle, walk into the theater, and buy a $15 5-pound bag of popcorn and ate most of it that night. But
Did you leave your kids in the vehicle?
with my wife.
Okay.
What was the way you went to Festival Lights? Soups doesn't have kids.
No, he didn't
Kinger,
go.
you take your kids to Festival
Yeah, I
Lights?
did. We drove through.
Did you get stuck in traffic and did you try and like sneak around that sucker?
Oh, it was brutal.
Snuck around. We got through on the... Where did we turn off? But we jumped the line for sure. I felt real bad about it.
No, you didn't.
Oh no, you didn't.
Until I realized
No, you didn't.
those suckers are going to be here forever. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we did not sneak around. We came in off of Highway 16 straight up 49th.
Ooh.
And it was a long haul.
I saw the lights.
It was we waited in line. I think it was 2 hours and 20 minutes for 7 minutes driving through the X grounds, looking at lights and leaving.
And she goes fast once you get in there. Like that was a quick.
It was
trip.
7. I swear to God, it was 7 minutes.
It was good. Lots of waving. My
It was
daughter's arm
lovely.
was tired, but like holy moly.
We came in from the east on the, I don't know, what's that, Refinery Road?
Yeah.
And we were stuck at the tracks, and I'm just sitting there, and we got a hot tip to go to the north side of Lloyd. I'm like, done. I'm out of here. Kids are crying and losing their shit, and I'm like, I can't take it anymore. I'm like,
We had Christmas music on. We were jamming. Well, at that point, 6-year-old, he's a world-class entertainer. So we just sat back and let CJ entertain for 2 hours and 7 minutes.
At least you were entertained. Not so fun in our vehicle, I
No?
would say. Yeah, it was amped up and then a little bit of crying. And I myself, not a Christmas person, so I can only take so much Christmas music before I snap.
you're Scrooge.
Yeah,
Why
I'm
not?
Scrooge. Yeah, for sure.
Of
My
all
wife
the
says it
holidays
time.
not to like, why Christmas?
I'm just not a holiday person in general.
He's also the guy who's a Lakers fan. They
Doesn't
win,
like LeBron.
but he doesn't like LeBron. Like, I don't even get it.
That win doesn't even count, guys. It doesn't count.
Like, it'd be like the Oilers getting, I don't know, who do you hate?
Taylor Hall.
Taylor Hall. And we win. Us winning for Soups, it's Tyson Berry. We win. It still counts.
I asked you not to mention his name
Oh,
tonight.
he's getting brought up a lot.
Well, there's going to be some screaming into the mic tonight, folks.
Is it a commercialism thing for Christmas, or just you don't like family and gifts and love and happiness?
Well, it's a little post-traumatic. If we want to get into it, my mom shoves holidays down my throat, like over the top, way beforehand.
Because your mom's a saint. Yeah, go ahead.
Because she's the nicest, and it just made
Yeah.
me hate all holidays. The decorating.
Because your mom is so nice.
Because she's so nice.
You gotta hate that.
And it just turned me into an awful human about holidays.
Huh.
I can't stand the decorating, the Christmas music. I hope my daughter never listens to this, but like I go along for them, but it really grinds
Wow,
me.
Kinger.
Let's move on from this topic, guys.
Wow. You learn a little bit about somebody every day, don't you?
We do. And,
Yeah.
and we were staring at the cups, and since we're talking festivities, why not useful wedding gifts? We got these.
We're talking gifts the wedding party is giving to their guests.
Correct.
Right.
To all guests, not
Yeah.
to the wedding party.
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
To
yeah.
like every guest that shows up. Because I got these beer mugs that are fantastic that we're using tonight. Shout out to Joe Belandre out in Wisconsin.
And Brian and Melissa.
That's right. Brian's mama. Yeah, fire away. Now, have you gone to a wedding with a useful wedding gift?
No,
I can't think of one.
I can only think of in the party.
Yeah.
And the best thing
Yeah.
I ever got in a wedding party was a hunting knife. That was the best thing I got. I was like,
For a guy
this-
that's never hunted in his life. Interesting.
but I use it for fishing. Works very well. Put those two together.
John B. Spigot, as I said before, gave out a deck of playing cards, and on the back side of the card, it's a picture of him and his wonderful wife, Jess,
That
in
was
their wedding regalia.
that was for select guests, I assume, because I was at that wedding. I didn't get.
I'm
that
pretty
present.
sure they were at every table, and you just had to put one in your hand and walk. Maybe I stole something, but I believe it was a gift.
What about you?
Oh, I'm using them.
Yeah, this is a great
This
idea.
is it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cups are solid, and these are the cups that last for 15 years.
These are
you
good-
can't break these cups.
Good beer glasses.
I would get rid of the cups we got for our wedding.
Yeah.
They were like gifts to us for these ones.
If you feel bad about using.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like normally when somebody puts their logo or what have you on a glass, I'm like, yeah, like it goes to the back and you don't want to break it out. But I got no problem giving a little Brian Melissa love.
Absolutely.
Like they look sharp.
They do. They're nice mugs. I don't know what the Buffalo has to do with anything on them, but
They got married in Buffalo. He's from Buffalo.
well, it makes sense then.
Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
Taylor Hall fan.
Probably.
What about open bar as a gift to everyone? Does that count? Because I'm a big fan of that gift.
Yeah, but you can't take that home with you.
Oh,
not
you
like
can
a-
take the memories home. Well,
Not
no,
really.
you
They're a
can't.
little fuzzy.
No, yeah, that's true. Yep, no, memories stay there too.
John B. Spigot's brother, Bobby, at his wedding, they had a candy bar.
Yeah,
Candy
I've
bar
had-
was
yeah.
solid.
Candy bar's
Yeah,
great.
Jason Clark had one of those too.
Yeah, we also have
Those
one
are
of
always good. I got to tell a wedding story here quickly.
Yeah,
on the
fire.
open bar. My wedding.
You know, they
my
were
dad-
giving Tomayer shit for stealing the
I
mic at the
know.
start, but it's gonna be the King show.
Don't worry,
tonight. All right,
I'm
King.
gonna drop off.
Welcome
early.
Welcome to the
figures
Christine
by-
podcast, everybody.
Yeah, he figures by being on here now so many times that he can just take over.
Yeah.
But hey, take over.
Do what you will, Kinger.
Okay.
I'm the most handsome guy in the room. Listen to
Yeah,
me talk.
this will be the last story for the next hour. My wedding, my dad is going to buy everyone drinks, right? Buying Townakit Scotty drinks.
Which is rare for a teacher.
Rare. Also, not shocking, he forgot his wallet at my wedding. So
that makes sense.
So he's giving, my girls were working the bar and stuff. So he's giving them IOUs. So like I owe you $20,
as good
I
as
owe you
money.
$50. So the next day when Court and I go to check the cash box, it's just full of paper. And it's like I owe you $5 TK, and it's just my dad's.
It's Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, it's like
That'd be
literally.
a great spot to drop that soundbite in right there, Sean.
Yeah. So the next day, that's what we found is a bunch of pieces of paper, and I asked Dad, "What the heck happened?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot money. I'll pay you back." All right.
Did you get paid back?
I'm sure he did, but like that.
You
thing
didn't
was
get paid
stacked.
back. No.
We'll call it a wash.
Attaboy, TK.
Speaking of weddings, what's the best thing you've seen happen at a wedding?
At my wedding, we had a justice of the peace who was going on about 107 years of age, and she had our wedding and then another wedding out in Maidstone afterwards, and she got the paperwork mixed up. Yes. So doing the vows and everything, it was Jeffrey and Diane. And during your wedding, you don't feel right correcting somebody. So after we just let it go, and you could hear all the people behind us muttering like, "Did they say Jeffrey and Diane?" Yeah, it's Jeffrey and Diane. So we just went through it, and afterwards we signed stuff off, and then a week later we were still laughing about this. Are we legally married? I don't know. And
Jeffrey
then
and Diane are.
and Jeffrey and Diane are. And then I get a call from her a week later. We didn't have I think, I don't remember if it was just the best man or the best man and the maid of honor didn't sign to make things official. So I don't know if we got married July 22nd or July 29th. It's one of the two.
Escape clause. That's unreal.
I looked at I got the phone call. I looked at Jackie. I'm like, this is your last out. we got a chance to nullify this.
Oh, you're asking? Like, I got one that sticks in my head, and I'll be very vague about it, and you'll see why here in a second. I don't know if it's a good thing, but I went to a wedding one time where people were literally like in the lobby, kind of saying, "So, how long do you give this one?"
Ooh,
yeah,
it's a tough one.
And it was funny to me. I'm not a nice
You were the
person.
one getting married.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was cool with me, but yeah. And I would like to say that marriage is still going, but I've never been to a wedding where we're all kind of going, so like, yeah, like probably November, eh? Like, they'll make Christmas. No.
I'd like to buy a
No, they'll make Christmas. I don't know. He's kind of with Christmas the same way Kinger is. I don't know.
Okay, get off the Christmas. Live chicken. My brother-in-law's wedding. The dance started. Hockey player, so classic. All the guys got their shirts off, ties around their head. The classic look.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, there's a live chicken on the dance floor he's running around with. And he's just running around. And of course, like, he's not an actual farm kid, so it's on the ground. Then all of a sudden, there's a rooster in there. And yeah.
Where the hell was his wedding at?
This is out in Cranbrook in BC. Yeah. They did it on like an estate, and there was a farm in the back. So the guys went outside, probably like cigar or something. And then they decided to bring in rooster and chicken and run around the dance floor with it. So that's my crazy.
I feel like that would be something that happens in rural Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
that's
it
should
be.
Yeah.
Get the farm animals out on the dance floor.
Wow.
There you go.
At one of the halls that's in the middle of nowhere. Like, that could be an Elker thing.
That could be an Elker thing.
I was going to say Kid Scuddy, but
Either way.
No. We got you beat with Elker.
I don't know. I enjoy a good wedding. I've done a lot of stupid things at weddings. You know, get a few drinks in me around college friends, high school friends, people I don't know. It don't really matter. Like, there's just something in the air in a wedding that is so intoxicating.
It's
And
not something in the air. It's something in your liver.
True. But that air leads to what's in my liver, because you're like, wow, this is
Start
like,
feeling it.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly what happens in this room. You start feeling it, all of a sudden you're like, all right, pour me another, and away we go. The brothers and I started doing renditions of Top Gun's "You'll Never Close Your Eyes." What's the song called? Why am I forgetting? They Lost That Love and Feeling.
Yeah.
Everly
Brothers?
Is it Everly Brothers?
you're looking at the wrong
Brothers. I want to say it's Brothers.
guy. Google search.
Me and a groomsman at one of my buddies' weddings, we sang that as part of the Make Them Kiss thing. It was terrible.
Righteous Brothers.
Righteous
Brothers.
Brothers. They're brothers.
Well, anyway, so we started serenading everybody's wife with that song. So I've been very drunk and sang to people's wives in the family with that song. So that's always
That's nice.
yeah. I assume it's hilarious.
Yeah. Seems funny.
One time at actually former guest here this week I had Curtis Clark on. He used to be from Lloyd, and when he got married, the only way you could get them to kiss was if you sang a song with love in it. And my eyes lit up, and I was like, oh, I know a song. And I had the entire crowd singing it. So I feel like I have a little bit of a talent for it, eh?
Yeah.
Something.
Can hold a tune.
And attention, I would say. if you're going that long, you're holding attention.
How much weight have you gained since in the last year and 2 days?
I actually maybe 5, maybe ish.
Are you lying?
No, I'm dead serious. Yeah, like this is not standard, but the last year's been fantastic for me. I have
shut his mic off.
I have excelled in 2020.
Sorry, I just Tomayer has left the studio. He will no longer be allowed to talk. We're all joking around before we come in here. Oh yeah, we're all heavy. Actually, I now have a 6-pack, and I've been working out every night, and I'm feeling great.
I definitely have not been doing that, but
what a dick.
I just personally, I have done really, really well.
Good for you. We're happy for him.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm thriving.
Is happy the word?
I'm happy. I'm just not giving him any airtime anymore, Kinger. Let's go back to Christmas.
Yeah.
I can go next. I'm 12 up.
I didn't fill your beer cup anymore because I figured you were.
No, I'll move on
All
to,
right.
and it's not because I don't love the beer, I do, but I'm a whiskey man.
Well, I guess I'm the one hurting then. I'm up 17.
Oh, I probably can beat
That's all muscle weight. 'Cause you got the new home gym.
I tell you what, you want to talk about home gyms for a second. If you would have, a year ago, if you would have been like, hey man, home gym or the actual gym. Fuck. I hated home gyms. Now with 3 children.
Yeah.
And mass and everything at the gym, I'm just kind of like, and filling out, just like, it is nice to walk out to the garage and work out.
Mm.
It's way easier alone too. Like just to go do your thing and not have to worry about other people and sanitizing and all that crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you got a cool setup. I went and I looked at the website that you posted on your your IG. That is cool stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a great set. I mean, not terrible pricing.
No,
they're not a sponsor, so we're not going to drop names, but
actually,
heck of a get up.
I tell you what, I'll drop them their name. Old Hyper Fitness. The only thing I'll knock them on, and I don't know if they can really, is it took 6.5 months. I ordered in October.
Yeah, they're sold out right now again.
Yeah, and the shipping container got held at the border for 3 months. Right? It's like by the time it came, I was just like, oh, what do I do? Like,
now I really need it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Apparently, everyone had the same idea in the pandemic.
Oh yeah,
home gym.
So I was blowing up when I was here last. Well, not in this spot, but with you boys. And I probably dropped 30 pounds, and I'm pretty sure I put it all back on, which is pathetic.
You did that all in the year? You dropped 30?
I bet. I'm at that stage right now where I actually just started working out hard last week again, but I'm still like, I'm not ready for the scale. It's just I'm scared of it.
Yeah, don't go to it until you need to.
Yeah. I don't need more depression. You know.
I love to see the scale. Oh, I see you, old friend.
I step on the scale and then I look sideways and see how just all belly.
All belly.
Yeah.
You guys ribs and nuts.
Yeah. And belly. It's a bad setup.
You know,
it's a bad setup overall.
We started this out. I got Tomayer talking about how the COVID year was, and I didn't really finish that train of thought. How's the COVID year been to you, Soups?
Move on to Chris.
It's been that rough?
It hasn't been good. I'm good. I'm good, but it hasn't been a good ride, no.
Well, how so? I got to be honest, boys. We haven't, how much have we all really talked since the last time we were in here? And actually...
Well, you talk to all your friends all the time, except for us. Well, him once.
Okay.
I feel left out.
I see
I thought this
on
was
the
going to be
weekends
a
of
daily
basketball.
thing last time.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
That's why it was a rough year for Soups.
Yeah.
I was waiting. Yep, just refresh. Sean's got to be asking me. Where's his text?
Just texted her. Hey, did you get my new number? I got a new number. Sean's like, it's the same number you've had for 10 years.
Has it been a rough year?
Yeah.
It's been a rough year.
Yeah. Terrible. But I don't want to talk about it here. If we want to do an in-depth conversation, I won't even say it. But Chris, how's your year been? How was Christmas?
Christmas was the worst. It's interesting. Didn't really get to do my job for most of the year, coaching. So I'm trying to navigate through that. And I think I got to think just like everyone else. At one point, I'm like, oh, this is depression. Like in terms of like, I'm not doing everything I'm normally doing. I'm a social person. You guys are all social people. Like just without that interaction, I realized like, okay, I'm not doing great. And then I reached out to my players probably too late, and I realized like they're all in the same phase. At least they're doing school. So I would say, creatively, me personally, it's been like a really fun year because I've got to try some things and plan a lot for coaching and do some other things business-wise. But it's interesting when you look back on it and see just kind of how it goes up and down. It's almost now it feels like the light at the end of the tunnel. Snow's melting. You can go outside. I'm outside with the kids. We talked about it. We can go play. I can go fishing soon. Like it feels, even though we're not out of the pandemic, it feels like okay, we're through like a long winter. that was miserable because you couldn't see people. But that's me. What about you?
Well, I identified. Well, we did this last March. So by end of April, I realized what was going on with me. Because if I don't talk to people, I start to go a little squirrely, and then I drive the wife nuts. Probably drive the kids nuts, and I'm just I'm not a great human being.
Right.
And so it was pretty much right after we did this that I bumped it to 2 episodes a week. I just started going and I'm going to talk to more people. Right. And now I don't know if I tell everybody this, but with the archives on Sundays, I pretty much sit down and do 4 podcasts a week.
Right.
And so I identified very early. We're all social beings, but I'm an extrovert. I like talking and seeing people, and so I've been doing it 4 days a week or 4 times a week for most of COVID. Now, that's not all in person by any stretch of the imagination. Lots of Zoom and whatever else, which isn't exactly this. But I don't know. Like I think everybody felt what you were talking about, King, or what you're alluding to, Soups. Right? Everybody went through that low spot where it's like...
Well, that's kind of why I don't want to talk about it, is because whatever I went through, there's a lot of people out there that have gone through way worse, right? So, and I don't mean to get all serious on everybody, but I mean, it's just the fact of the matter, right? So,
well, we're talking about the last year, right?
Yeah.
You can get as serious as you want in here. It don't matter to me. Like,
I'm never comfortable doing that.
Oh, fair.
I don't think the last year's supposed to be ha-ha funny.
No.
It wasn't ha-ha funny for me. Contrary to popular belief, I am not an extroverted person. I am very content at home.
We talked about this one day, remember?
Not interacting. That's where I thrive. And so I was...
You're killing it. You're killing it.
I was content with staying home,
right,
and hanging out with my kids and that sort of thing. I mean, from a professional standpoint, it was the worst year I've ever had, which would normally put me into a pretty hard spiral, but I was content.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And content's big for me.
Yeah, but it's interesting on like how you perceive things, right? I think I think everyone comes out of this knowing a lot more about themselves. Like I had the same talk with my wife. My wife's an introvert. Her staying at home reading a book is her greatness, right? Like she's totally chill with that. With me, I get to coach my kids till November, and then I don't basically see them again. That was my only interaction, right? You take out all the other social things, playing hockey and all the things that you can do, and I didn't realize how much I need that for my normalcy, whereas her not so much. Kind of like your story.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, if you think back to when we were last all in here, essentially everything had just gotten shut down. I think the shock was still set in, right? Like,
well, we were all of the mindset, and we should have all listened back and done our homework, but we were of the mindset that this is going to last for 6 weeks. It's not going to be a thing. We'll just turn a page and move on. Little did we know.
Yeah, we were a little wrong on
that. Last March was the easy part of it. Really.
Yeah.
Well, right now the frustrating thing is, and I know we were saying this, we got a whole swath of questions about COVID and, what we think, and we're all joking around in here before we start. Like none of us really, we have our opinions, but we're not experts on it. But the frustrating thing right now is that it feels like the light at the end of the tunnel's like right around the corner, except then you hear of third wave variation. You just
not enough vaccines.
Oh my God! You just start listening to all the stuff, the verbiage that's coming down, and you're better off just to turn off social media.
Which I did this year.
Did you?
Yeah. Out the window.
Don't know.
I have it, but
you find a lot more happiness not checking it.
So much more.
I bet.
I look at it twice a day, maybe.
Do you? Oh, so you still got?
I still have it, but you won't find the apps on my phone. I either have to
doing it on your desktop.
I go to the website, so it's a task to do it.
Oh my gosh, it's effort.
It's not
You're like a married man with Tinder.
I am not like that. So I've got it set so it has to be an effort to go and look at it. So if you get a like from me on social media, you've done well.
So I'm doing well.
You're doing well.
I got a couple likes. Sorry, that Tinder thing really threw me off.
I just tried to move past it.
Jackie, just so you know, he doesn't
so
have it.
You have to make an effort. Same thing, like
exactly.
I think
it's like the guy that keeps all of his beer in the fridge downstairs.
And I
to
think
limit his drinking.
Yeah. That doesn't
I like-
quite make
I
as
love
much
Yeah, I would never do
downstairs.
that, but some people do that.
But it's such a, and we all know social media is a gratification thing. And that's one of the things that when I spoke with my players through the pandemic is now they're on it way more. And they're seeing, oh, Sean's doing all this cool stuff. My life sucks. And it sucks even more because I can't do what he's doing. And it's really spiraled, spiraled.
It's so political and so COVID based. It's depressing.
No, that's all.
I
it
had
is.
to get away from it.
COVID and politics. COVID and politics.
100%.
Politics, COVID.
It used to be poop jokes,
And then
that was fun.
SNP every once in a while. maybe I don't know, basketball academy, something like that. Maybe sliding in there.
Might be a couple of those. Some sick videos or something.
It has been a weird year though.
Oh yeah.
Like
Kinda, yeah.
well, I mean, we live in rural Canada where we're not even in the worst of it, right? And
No.
we're in Lloyd, which has been bad enough, but I mean, you only had to go 10 minutes into Alberta and no restaurants, no man.
No junior hockey, stuff like that.
Oh, that sounds like you want to pivot.
Sure. We can talk about
Getting screwed.
Well, I don't know. where do we want to start? How about the Bobcats not being? How about the Bobcat, like AJHL firing back up? The Bobcats. I don't know. I talked to
Nigel,
thank you, about it, and like it kind of hurts my brain. I get it. It's higher power than, and they got to draw a line somewhere, and fuck whatever. But I mean, if you're gonna jump through all the hoops, and you're the only one that it's like you can make an exception. That's okay. Especially if they're going to abide by the rules.
Especially when we're already aboard. It's not like our team is based in Battleford and we play in the
trying
AJHL.
to get into it. That's right.
We play in the border city where most of our population's on the Alberta side. Most of our businesses are on the Alberta side. But the Saskatchewan government gets to dictate what we do. And then they get to dictate, here's what you've got to do to be able to play. You lay out a plan as to how you're going to do that. And then they say, okay, well, we'd like to see this as well. You go, well, that wasn't in the list. And they say, oh, yeah, but we want it anyway. So you provide that, and they go, yeah, that's still really not going to cut it. We need this as well. And it's like when you're a kid and you want to go to Chris King's house to play baseball, and your dad says, you got to cut the lawn first. So you cut the lawn. You come back and said, okay, I'm going to Chris's house. No, you got to put away clothes first. But you just said I had to cut the grass. Yeah, but now you got to put away clothes. So you put away the clothes. Okay, Dad, I'm going over to Chris King's house. No, you're not, because you got to do this. And before that, it's supper time. You can't go anyway. It's brutal.
We ran into the same thing at Lakeland. It's the downfall of being in the border city, right?
Yeah.
And I would say it was kind of a pro in September because that side was a little bit looser. So you guys benefited a little. You guys had to do the Kids Scotty thing and all that.
Yeah, we had some opportunities.
Yeah, we benefited a little. And then the flip side is as SAS tightened up, Alberta schools start to get going. We're not allowed to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You guys aren't allowed to join your league. It's just like, oh my goodness. And all of us that live here know the benefits of living in Lloyd. 90% of the time, huge benefit on the border city. And this time, not so much because SAS government was so set on no exceptions.
I would have slept much easier on it if they just would have said no off the hop.
Right, yeah, don't do the work. Don't do the work.
Well, we don't want to say no, so we're just going to make it really difficult for them and make them bow out. Well, Nigel's a pit bull, wouldn't bow out, fought to make things happen, and gets let down by the whole thing. If we had just gotten a no off the hop, a number of things would have happened. A, we wouldn't have wasted a bunch of time trying to make it happen. B, we found out on deadline day that it was just going to be a no-go. And as a result, we have players who, through the system, if you backed out of play this year, your players could go on loan to other organizations. I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at this.
I wish
there's a nice issue right now.
I wish there was video right now, and working on it, getting there, getting closer. Just not tonight. But if we could have just saw
Soup's trying to mix a drink and not make noise with ice.
But
serious topic, and you hear it crinkle, crinkle, crinkle.
But you know what the problem is?
But so just to finish my point. So we find out on deadline day that it's not going to happen. Our players don't even have time to go on loan to other organizations, to 20-year-olds to play out their season. We have one guy who was able to go to Drumheller in Max Stewart, and everybody else was stuck. and that sucks.
Don't you think it's a product? I'm sure this will get me in trouble. Of no one really knowing what the heck they're doing. Like, it just always seems when you're dealing, like, no one really knows what's supposed to happen. Like, with all the phone calls I had with, like, Sask Health and everything about, like, our business, it's a different thing depending on who you talk to. Well, no, it's this. Actually, no, if you do this, you're good, but this. And it's just like, how am I having 7 different phone calls in the course of a month and we haven't changed anything? Like, it just, and it has to, and I sympathize because it has to be really hard to
they don't have an easy
get
job.
stuff from the Canadian government and then down to the provincial government. It's like, I'm not saying it's easy, but it just seems like no one knows what the hell is going on from top to bottom. And then it makes it more difficult on sporting
even on
orgs,
local
businesses, everything, right?
Without throwing anybody under the bus, you can go on a local level, not businesses, but like health, and you can get one person tell you one thing,
right,
with close contact or testing positive or whatever, and then you can get another person in the exact same position tell you something completely different.
100%.
It still affects you, and you go, listen, we could sit here and debate why they can't filter that down, but at the end of the day, when it gets down to that level of what you should do if you've been in a close contact or whatever it is, shouldn't it just be like, if you have been infected with it, if you've been close contact, here's what has to happen? Like, I don't get why it's so left for debate.
Yeah.
We, early on, I want to say November, we had a few of those with kids that were in our programming, and it was like, kid A, they're 7 days or whatever it is, but kid B, now I'm good to go. A couple hockey teams got it in town, and kids were doing some of our camps, and one kid can't come to anything, the other kid's good to go. I'm like, how is this?
Well, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's what's been,
that's
part of the struggle of the year we've had, is there's a lot of things that just don't make sense, and you're trying to, you want to make sense of it, right?
If the rules were hard and fast and the timeline was solid, it'd be much easier.
Well, and if a couple things happen, if the verbiage stayed the same, we were flat in the curve, then we were end the curve, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that happened right in front of our eyes, and everybody went, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah,
right?
it went flat. What did I do?
Yeah. The next is like, no matter what we do, the goalposts always move, and like and so it's like, I don't know. Just tell me when this is gonna end. I know they can't, but at least if this, give the what you wanted with the Bobcats. Give the people, listen, guys, if we get here, we're going to open things up.
Yeah.
But instead of doing that, when it gets there, then they go, well, we better wait because we don't want it to jump back up. And it's like, we just got here.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
You set the goal, we got to it, and now the finish line's not where it's supposed to be.
That's right. It's another 100, and that irritates everyone. And you know what happens when that happens? People stop following rules because nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what the fuck are the rules anyways at this point?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen this summer, is it not?
Oh fuck, it's going to be a madhouse.
It's going to be done by summer, no?
Well, yeah, in theory. In reality, though, like, talking about Bobcats, and I can speak from our side, like, what's the level of worry for next season? Because I can tell you right now, from what I'm hearing on next season, it's not so hot right now.
Yeah.
What's coming down the pipe, at least in post-secondary?
I have no idea. I stopped even trying to think about it.
Yeah.
Really. Like, it's like everything else. It's just out of control, and there's no certainty. So, from a guy who generally worries about everything, and maybe that's why the year went better for me, is I just stopped. Said, I can't control it. Screw it. I'll just live.
Yeah.
Does it just come to a point where somebody at the top has to be like, listen, we're going to let them play again, and like take the heat for that? Because, I mean, you got places, well, or is it just vaccinations as soon as that gets close?
It's a liability. That's the
I know.
problem.
Well, that's what everybody hides behind, though, Kingers, the liability.
100%.
Right?
The problem, and I read a very good article about it, is that you have... I did.
On your desktop. On
my desktop. And the article was I can't think of the fellow's name, but he was involved in the Canadian military for a lot of years, and his specialty is basically crisis management, right? So he was called in on 9/11 to help deal with that and plan out next steps and that sort of thing.
Right.
He said the biggest mistake the Canadian governments have made is putting the welfare of the country as a whole in the hands of healthcare. You wouldn't let business dictate what healthcare is going to do. You shouldn't let healthcare dictate what business is going to do. And healthcare should certainly be at the table. It should have a voice. That's an important part of it. But healthcare is obviously going to err 100% on the side of the caution to make sure that people live and they're healthy and they're safe. Happy is maybe a question mark in this one, obviously. But it handcuffs everything, because healthcare doesn't care about what the bill is. They don't care about what the business impact is. Their job is strictly health. And as a result, we have what we got. I should find that article. I'll send it to you. It's a good read.
Yeah.
I gotta admit something. I thought you said you wrote it, not that you read it. So that was the reason for my like an idiot.
No, I write poop jokes on Twitter. That's
what was the last time you two actually were on the mic together?
This last year.
Yeah,
because I
last year in March.
I won't go into the whole story, but I told Shane at the start of the year because of work purposes.
He was tired of my shit.
Well, that's fair.
Yeah,
I think we
than that, but no, yeah, it was looking like I was gonna have to take, or not have to take, but I was gonna take a job in Edmonton, and so I was going up there during the week for work, and it was right when they were starting up, and then of course everything got shut down before I could say, "Hey, I'm back." And so,
which, to be fair, since then I've broadcasted 2 games, so you didn't miss much.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there hasn't been a lot of anything going on. So
it was 2 games that started in November, and
you boys have you been watching? Have you been watching the NBA, Kinger? Have you been watching it all? Have you been watching your team with the guy you don't like?
Well, he's out right now, so that makes me happy. I've been watching. Listen, I've been watching a lot of NCAA.
Here's what I want to know from listeners. Okay, you all got a team. Somebody's got, whether it's hockey, baseball. I don't know, not golf because that's not teams.
Cricket.
But sure, baseball, football, soccer, etc. If your team gets any player, do you stop cheering for your team? Does that make any sense to anyone on this table other than King?
Not when the player is the best one in the game.
The best in the game, and they argue the best of all time.
Oh, you think there's a lot of
settle down.
You think there's a lot of LA Kings fans going, "Ah, shit, we got Gretzky." I hate hockey now.
First off, you can't compare the LA Kings to the LA Lakers because the Kings were terrible.
So were the Lakers.
Taylor doesn't
the Lakers
think
won
so.
all through the 80s and the 90s.
I mean, when they got LeBron.
No, but the Lakers have been good. They're a storied franchise. They are the NBA, right? It's just LeBron is. We don't need to revisit this. You know my thoughts. I hate LeBron. He's he's awful. Okay. And yes,
it's a hair, isn't it?
I might be the only one.
Tomayer, who's your favorite team?
Leafs.
Leafs? Okay. Yeah. So if the Toronto Maple Leafs got Claude Lemieux, I don't know. I'm throwing out a heel. Is there somebody out there that you just detest? Who's the guy in the NHL right now you detest? Marchand?
Maybe, yeah.
If the Leafs got Marchand tomorrow and he was doing the licking the whatever.
No, because now he's an asshole for my team.
Right. Okay. Soups?
There was times in the last 10 years where it's not so much a player, but I started to had a love-hate for the Oilers.
That's because they were terrible. If they got Alexander Ovechkin tomorrow, who's one of the best
it wasn't
in the game,
just because they were terrible.
I can't say Sidney Crosby because I don't know if that's fair, but maybe there is people that hate him. But
sure.
But who's the best in the game in the NHL? I mean, we got him, McDavid.
McKinnon, maybe? Well, I guess McDavid.
That's a heel.
That's a heel.
That's
Marchand.
That's
Matt Tkachuk.
Yeah, Tkachuk's in there, sure.
Why is everybody looking at me?
I would take because if Matthew Tkachuk came to the Oilers tomorrow, I'd fucking have a parade in Lloyd for him.
Oh yeah, and as good as Puljujärvi's playing, I still wish they would have taken Tkachuk at 4.
Absolutely,
yeah. But I don't hate Matt Tkachuk. It's just he's probably one.
Is there no guy you can think of that if he came to your team, you would stop cheering for him?
No, because that's not logical.
Ryan Kessler would have been a close one for me. And there were rumors at one time when Kessler was getting out of Vancouver that the Oilers were interested. And it would have made it tough. Remember those Canucks teams in 2011? I kind of always asked myself
he was filth.
I kind of asked myself how can the Canucks fans seriously cheer for this team? And it's not so much like in 2011, hey, they were great. They, went to the final, everything was awesome. Don't make any noise while you're pouring, please. I'm trying to talk. Who would do such a thing?
See how silent I am?
It's not my studio. I don't know how to be quiet. So, anyway, you know, when those Canucks teams, when they started to fall off, man, that fan base really hated them. And you're seeing that right now in Calgary. Like, they had a core that was okay. I felt overrated, and I don't say that as a hateful Oiler fan. It's just,
I suppose if your team was bad and you signed a guy and your team signed, I said you and I can't believe that, and your team signed a guy that was a cancer.
So you're Buffalo and you just signed
Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
Could maybe I should be calling up Brian and see if he's not a Buffalo fan right now.
That'd be a tough one. But I mean, any time, I suppose, as a fan, you ultimately question any signing that your team makes as to the value and that sort of thing. I questioned Joe Thornton joining the Leafs.
Your wife didn't.
My wife did, because my wife hates the Leafs,
but
loves Joe
For
Thornton.
reference, I'm not questioning LeBron's skill. I'm not questioning
We realize that
part.
But with LeBron,
him as a human is my issue.
LeBron
is it the
player,
school for troubled youth that bothers you so much?
No, just a human. Him as
LeBron as a player gave your team an instant chance to win. Oh wait, they did win.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis,
man. Anthony Davis.
Man, that guy's got one set of brows.
One set of brow. You pluralized it.
There's a reason why it's trademarked. Just saying. When
Can you
get
imagine
that
making money
trademarked
off of being ugly?
in college?
What a gig.
He trademarked that in college. Yeah. What a good agent he had, which he shouldn't have had in college. For the record.
So
Advisor.
Am I making a dumb move getting my teeth fixed, boys?
Yeah, you should.
You're
be
getting your
selling
teeth
that.
fixed?
Yeah,
that should be the logo.
I had surgery up here already.
Have you not been on social media?
No, I
This
haven't.
guy's got poles in his teeth all the time. He's coming out of there smiling, and they do good work there. They do good
They
work.
do. Shout out to Wayside Dental. Another selfless plug.
That sounds like one of our broadcasts.
That's right. Except for I used to just make companies up.
Yeah.
Can we? I just want to backpedal on the pulley RV for a second. Why can't they get a helmet to fit this guy? He got size 10 melon? Like,
no,
what
it's the
is
way he
going
wears
on
it.
with
It's
him?
the way he wears it, is it not? It's just the way he wears it.
Nylander's another one.
Yeah.
That kid's got a garbage can for a garbage can for a head.
He's got
20 pounds of hair.
Yeah.
Bully Harvey just looks like he's jamming. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh my god,
that doesn't look comfortable.
His gear fit? His gear does not fit. Like,
he has.
I do actually like him. I do like him. But God, he
How
looks
can
funny.
anyone dislike that guy?
He just skates
Now.
around.
He hasn't fit into his body yet. You know what I mean?
No,
When
he's
a kid
still
grows
grown into
too
his
fast.
man body. Yeah, that's
Like
for sure.
when you watch him, isn't that what you see? You're like,
Oh, yeah.
God, that's like a 13-year-old kid in a 20-year-old
Just
body.
going
That's
through
why
puberty.
he's got that shit-eating grin on his face all the time when he scores. He's just got the, oh my god. I get a kick out of him. Sorry. That dome is massive, though.
What happens to Taylor? Wait, did we finish that?
Yeah, we wrapped it up.
Yeah.
What happens
Moving on
to
from
what
LeBron.
happens to Taylor Hall after this year?
Works at a golf course.
Yeah, you think it's gonna be that big of a
Okay,
drop for him?
we do have to talk
He's
about
terrible.
the. Okay, we discussed this a year ago. We know he's not good for a team, but we also, the analytics guys, know that his analytics look good on
Terrific.
puck possession, right?
Yep.
He looks good on analytics. So someone
His possession numbers, his expected
there's
goals
always a
for,
price.
all that.
If
all that,
if the Oilers sign him tomorrow for $1 million, would you take him?
yes.
stop cheering for
Yes,
the Oilers.
not with
If the Toronto Maple Leafs could sign him tomorrow for $1 million,
I would not be happy.
Okay.
See, there
Here
you
we
go.
go. Here we go.
I wouldn't
You
stop
picked the wrong
liking
player, Sean.
I wouldn't stop liking the Leafs, but I wouldn't be happy. It's just
Would you feel like if they won, there's a little bit like, didn't love that.
You can sign back Jason Spezza for $1 million or Taylor Hall for $1 million.
Jason Spezza.
Not a chance. Get out of here.
Yes. What is Taylor Hall going to do in a room? Absolutely destroy it.
He's not going to
He's
do
gonna
anything
shoot
in the
the
room.
puck
You
right
don't.
here.
You do not need him to do anything in your room. You need to go sit on your power play and score.
But
some
as soon
goals.
as his big fucking Ken doll head walks into that room, there's a problem, and he's going to walk into that room.
there's no room he can walk into and be like just brought under the fold.
How many rooms has he been in so far? It hasn't worked.
Sidney
so
Crosby can't bring Taylor Hall in and be like, listen, Hall, you're nothing. Get on my wing.
I don't think Sid's that kind of leader, is he?
I think he is.
You think?
I
so?
think he is
Yeah.
too.
He's that verbal. You think?
I think he's got a good big a fuck you in him. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry,
I
your
don't know.
mother's listening, and I just used the F word again. I'm sorry.
Earmuffs, Mom. She'll call me tomorrow.
Sorry,
morning.
Mom.
Yeah.
Stop having that Tomayer guy on there.
It's just one dude in here. One dude.
We'll get him off for you. No worries. I feel like there's a leader out there that can get him, like, that can rein him in. Frick, Michael Jordan handled Dennis Rodman for Pete's sake.
Okay, but that's not a good comparison, man.
Michael Jordan avoided Dennis Rodman.
And Dennis Rodman was the best player in the NBA at a specific skill.
100%.
He was world-class rebounder, the best rebounder in the league. And Jordan, and let's give Phil credit, handled his personality. If you're telling me Taylor Hall is the best in the league at something
He's
right
a Hart
now,
Trophy winner.
is he the best in the league at something?
No,
right
he's
now?
not that. But he's very talented.
So let's not compare him to Rodman.
He's got skill.
That disrespects Rodman. Let's compare him to, like,
God, sorry, Rodman.
Steve
Someday
Kerr.
I hope to have you in here.
Steve Kerr, maybe. He's a Steve Kerr-ish.
No,
Kind of has a little bit of game. By the way, I'm now done 8 times through that now.
You've watched it 8 times?
8 times.
Have you read?
Since we talked about it?
Have you
Well, yeah, it
read,
didn't come out until 3 months
Phil
after.
Jackson's book before?
Yeah.
Is it good?
The Six Rings.
No. The one before that.
How many
one
books does
before?
one guy need to write? with his
He's
own
got
life?
3. He's got 3 books.
Yeah. No, his first one. The one they talk about in it.
Is
Come
that the
on,
one
you-
where he talks about doing acid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've read that one. Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah. All his stuff's good. I think all his books are good. Yeah. This last one.
He's on my list of, like, man, I'd love to sit in a room with that guy.
The Lakers book that
Drive to
just came
Montana.
out on the championship years talks about Phil handling Kobe and how much of an a-hole Kobe was.
Mhm.
And it's basically behind the scenes for the first 3 years before Shaq left. And it is unbelievable. Like, the stories that they tell in there, like Shaq dummying him, Shaq slapping players from the opposite team in shoot-arounds. Like, it is awesome. It's really good. And it talks a lot about Phil Jackson handling these personalities.
Big personalities.
And then Phil's personality becoming too big to handle as
Right.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Hmm.
I'll get that for you for a read. But yeah, I don't remember that first one, but I just remember that was the one that Phil talks about doing.
Okay, so I'll rewind this.
Yeah.
Nobody can You're telling me nobody can handle Taylor Hall?
Oh, I'm not saying that.
Well,
I just-
no. But let's do his track record. Oilers.
Nope.
Well, but they were
I
young.
think the Oilers can because he's got a relationship with McDavid that dates back to when McDavid obviously first came in the league. I think he would fall in line. That's my opinion. Maybe that's me.
You don't think he's
talking.
going to walk in there and say, I've got the Hart Trophy. I should be leading
Wasn't the
this room?
problem
No.
the first time that he thought he was as good as McDavid? Don't you think that was some of the problem?
No.
I think some of the problem at the beginning is they had a bunch of 20-year-olds they had
Yeah.
no leadership.
They had nothing.
Like, look at what they did with. I know. I bring up Crosby because I just like what they did. They insulated him. They brought in all these veteran guys to kind of show him the ropes. Now it still takes a guy to be willing to learn from
Yeah.
guys and everything else. And Crosby is a special breed, no different than McDavid's probably a special breed. So Taylor Hall isn't exactly that. But I look at Phil Kessel, and Phil Kessel to me went to Pittsburgh, and everybody said he can't lead, and he's getting bad, and then they win cups. And he doesn't have to be the guy.
Kessel scores goals.
There's another aspect to that too,
Yeah.
and that's the comparison I use for Hall all the time too. Phil Kessel, there's certain wingers in the NHL who need certain types of centers to work with them. You saw Kessel in Toronto. Who was the center he worked best with in Toronto?
Bounce around like a bubble in a piss pot, though.
Tyler Bozak.
Sure.
JVR, Tyler Bozak, Phil Kessel. Great line. Not a championship, they're not leading the Leafs
right,
anywhere,
right.
but that was a great line. Phil goes to Pittsburgh. People forget this. He did not work with Sid at all. He was terrible with Sid. In 2016, they won the cup because they had the HBK line, which was the third line with him, Bonino, and who am I forgetting? HBK, Hagelin.
Hagelin.
Carl Hagelin. Yeah. So that was their third line getting soft minutes. Phil Kessel thrived in that role. Taylor Hall, the reason why I think he'd work in Edmonton more than anything, I don't know if he's a cancer or not, but he worked with Draisaitl in that 2016 season. He worked with Nuge for a lot of seasons. There's guys there who know how to play with him. And I think that's key. I heard a lot at the start of the year. Taylor Hall, Jack Eichel, look out. Their games don't fit together. And, I mean, they really don't fit together right now because Jack Eichel's not playing. But
Doesn't Hall bring some of the problems that the Oilers have in terms of turning the puck over?
Yep.
And giving up
that's
scoring
why
chances,
it scares me for the Oilers because they need more 200-foot players up front.
Right. And
not to sacrifice the offense, but
you don't want to get, and this is just me personally, I don't want to give up a Nuge for a Hall that's going to maybe score 2 more goals but give up 3.
Right.
And
No,
the
I don't
other thing
either.
is, I don't think Hull. Okay, now this is what his third stop now.
Oh,
Fourth
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Nothing has said he's really fallen in line to any organization, right?
Yep.
So one thing he's good at is he is good at making the team he plays on get a high lottery pick. He is good at that. That's a fact.
Well, then I'll ask-
You don't want the Oilers
Well,
to
then
draft Owen Power or Kent Johnson?
Then I'll
or-
ask the next question. Is there a guy like Taylor Hall that bounced around when he was young, didn't fit in anywhere, was high talent, and then became something?
Well, does Kessel count?
Well, I think Kessel counts. He was a little... he was very similar to Taylor Hall, just different body shape. I mean
Rounder.
PK Subban's another one that comes to mind, but he ain't exactly blowing up the world, is he?
No, he's
Right.
another guy that you question how much of a problem might he be.
I wonder if PK, if that was more to do with him falling head over heels for Lindsey Vonn, because there's a direct correlation with when he started up with Lindsey Vonn and then his game fell off. Obviously they've split up, but it looked to me like social media speaking.
They split up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before the season.
Check your Instagram.
Yeah, Mr. I don't go on Instagram.
Well, that's why I don't know. Didn't she
it-
have a relationship? Who else? She had a relationship with
Tiger
Tiger
Woods.
too, didn't
Yep.
she?
Was
and
it-
his career wasn't going great at that time. Maybe
Was it-
Lindsey Vohn's a problem.
Who knows their Oiler history good?
Relatively.
What was the guy who came to Glen Sather in the Oilers? Was it Klima or was it McTavish that had the rough streak?
Well, probably Klima if you're talking about like cancers in
No.
the room, right?
Yeah, is that him?
McTavish also had a rough streak in that he killed somebody.
And had,
that was pre-Oilers.
that was before. Weren't one of them pretty rough around the edges? Is that McTavish?
Klima did
I
not
wouldn't
fit
know.
in. No, McTavish was their captain, and he was kind of respected. With the
Like if you
Oilers.
put Taylor Hall back in the dressing room with the Gretzkys, the Messiers, the Lows.
Well, there's a famous story with Kent Nielsen that apparently Messier threw him up against the wall, and I'm not sure exactly how the story goes, but when he
That
went there in
would be terrifying.
'87, because Kent Nielsen, and he's before all our time, but Kent Nielsen had a rep of being like an amazing player, but just was
dick.
lazy.
Who's the God? My mind isn't working tonight. Who's the Winnipeg Jet? Who's now a San Jose Shark?
Evander Kane.
Evander Kane. There's a third one,
Yeah.
right? Is he? I mean, he's kind of found some footing in San Jose actually,
Yeah.
but he still has some issues.
Financial problems.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way that Taylor Hall can just slide into.
I wouldn't say there's no way. I don't see, like you asked specifically about the Leafs, I don't see a need for Taylor Hall in that environment.
What's the common theme with the players you're naming here? What do they all have in common, would we say?
Well, they
Choose
don't
your words carefully.
choose my
No,
words carefully.
exactly.
I know
No,
exactly what you're thinking.
They're all lazy.
Craig McTavish?
No, but like the last the last guys you're naming guys that come off as aloof, like don't really care, right?
I don't
they're
think
not
Hall's
engaged.
lazy though, King.
Sometimes they're not engaged.
think
Defensively, maybe, but I don't think
selfish,
he's
but
lazy.
still engaged.
selfish might be a better word.
Okay,
Yeah.
Maybe not
selfish.
lazy, but selfish.
I don't know. If he's down to $1 million, I'd take a flyer on him in a heartbeat.
What would you trade? Because that's the one I'm thinking about right now. Because I don't want the Oilers to buy right now. I think their window starts this summer.
I don't think Buffalo's interested in anything other than picks.
Yeah, but with his no trade, they're going to be really limited on what they can get, and it's highly unlikely he
What does he
resigns
get?
there.
What
Right?
does Hall get in the future?
He's
Contract?
No, I know, but when
he
he
gets
hits free agent,
he gets a chance wherever he goes in a couple weeks' time here to actually do something
he
and
just
get a
got that
decent
this year.
contract.
He just got that this year. He just bet on himself
Well,
this year.
no,
This
but
is
he's
his year. He bet on himself this year.
Yeah, but he's getting another chance to
How
bet,
many years?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
people
that's-
have
No,
Because-
but how many years? Like, give me
Yeah.
a year.
But to this point, though, is what I'm saying.
Two,
He's
you
had
can't you can't sign up for more than two.
No.
Okay, so for two-
But he's gonna get traded here in 2
Yeah.
weeks' time,
Right, so he's
and
got
then
a last chance.
and then he's gonna get another little chance. Because if all of a sudden he blows it up, that's exactly what teams are looking for. Look at Evander Kane.
So then are we
Evander
dealing
Kane
with
was
the-
the exact one.
He's-
He went to Buffalo and sucked. Goes
Yeah.
to San Jose, has a great time, and all of a sudden they sign him long term.
So then are we talking about a Vince Carter, James Harden issue here where he's just given up?
No, not him. Not that dude.
Okay, so Hall's still playing hard.
We
but not
obviously know
producing.
Soups is a Hall fan.
No,
Yes,
I'm really,
yes,
I'm not
clearly.
that big of a Hall fan,
Jesus.
but
It's
you
becoming
know,
obvious.
What
Take off
happened
the
the other
sweater, show
night?
us the
What
floor, you
happened last
loser.
week in Buffalo? He when he got hit in the face with a puck,
Yeah.
came back and finished the game.
And that's
Why
a
would
lot
you
of
finish?
face.
Why would you want to finish the game if you're healthy playing for Buffalo right now?
Trying to get that next contract.
Exactly.
No, not Hall. Like, I mean, any of their players. No, Taylor Hall's getting the next. Let's not go over.
No, he's going to get another contract.
He's going to get many. Other
but
contracts,
but
so.
he's his dollar value is not great right
100%.
now.
But I think of a guy like Jay Bouchard. And Jay Bouchard had all this hype, and he never became that number one defenseman. And then when he went to St. Louis, and he was able to just be paired with Pietrangelo and kind of be forgotten, then all of a sudden, Jay Bouchard...
He's played 31 games this year.
2 goals.
2 goals, 15 assists, 17 points, minus 19. Now, the minus 19 on Buffalo, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's pretty
But
good.
Buffalo still gets to go on the power play, right?
You know what? I retract my state. You know, like, I didn't realize he only had 2 goals.
Yeah.
Like,
you did? Oh, yeah.
Taylor...
Not only that, but he's
I knew he's having
0.5 points per game.
Listen, Taylor Hall is an elite talent, but what that shows me is he is... I mean, you shouldn't be paying high to get Taylor Hall right now.
No, but that's to me. That's what we're talking
Especially
about.
on a
is
rental
if,
basis.
If he's dirt cheap, would you pay, like you said,
Well,
$1 million
okay.
bucks? Like 100%, you pay. him
Well,
for $1 million bucks.
what's Buffalo going to give him up for? Come to Edmonton.
Oh.
What do you think?
Couple
Well,
of picks.
Friedman said today that
Size
as
you
we're
can
recording
get.
this today, that he that Buffalo won't get a first round pick for him. I
No.
don't think they should. I would say Buffalo
Hell
gets
to the no.
a second or a third and a B to C level
Future.
prospect. Like if you're the Oilers and Kevin Adams says to Ken Holland, look, you can have him for a third round pick and Tyler Benson.
Why Benson?
2022 third round pick.
What do you got against
say
Benson?
because they don't have
You son of a bitch.
leading scorer in the AHL right now or second. One of
He's
them.
up there.
Him and Cooper
Would you
Marody.
give up Benson?
I would because I'm not seeing the spot for him anymore. Holloway, Ryan McLeod, I think they're better prospects. And I love Tyler Benson, I really do. Not like just as a hockey player, I should say. Not like
Yeah, no, yeah, but when you love a guy like that, Soups, you follow the Oilers probably closer than any of us
Anybody.
four.
Yeah.
it's unhealthy.
You got a guy in Benson that I know you could look at it and go, "There's no room for him." But if you love a guy that much, meaning
You make room.
you make room.
No, but I'm
That's
saying
what I
like there's
think.
no like
There's
how do you
no
make
direct
there's
path.
12
There's
spots.
no direct path. Yeah.
I
You know, like
understand.
you can't have 15 spots up front. You know, you can't have.
Stop worrying so much about defense.
Well, they don't already with the forward they got back there. Are we really going to do this right now?
Sure, can we talk about Tyson Barrie?
I think he's a fantastic defenseman for the
You
Oilers.
would.
I think he moves the puck well, skates well. He's
He's
put
a
up
right-handed
points.
shot, man.
Right-handed D-man. They don't
Isn't it?
exist.
Yeah. I mean, what are we going to do? Sign him up.
Trolling me.
8 years max contract.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's best. All right, next topic.
That was a big sip. We got one. Hoodie's coming off right away.
Yeah.
This is not funny.
It's kind of funny.
This is. I'll laugh
This is why you
about
need
it.
YouTube in here, I guess.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
in
This
maybe
rate-
like what July 31st when Tyson Barrie is suiting up for say the Los Angeles Kings. Well, he won't be suiting up for them, but when he's signing their contract, I can take a deep breath, listen to this back, and say, "Oh, that was hilarious." Right now, I'm a little tweaked about it.
So is it that you dislike Tyson Barrie or you dislike the idea
You know
of
what? I
signing him?
actually really like Tyson Barrie. It's I dislike the idea of them signing him long term. I wasn't even on board for the initial signing because with how up
Why not?
against-
It's a 1 year.
not that it was a bad value, but up against the cap as much as they were, I felt they needed a top 6 winger or, and this is where I was very wrong, they needed to invest that money into goaltending. Mike Smith, what's this, the best year in like the last 8 as a 39-year-old? Who saw that coming? But that's, they've got Ethan Bear, they got Evan Bouchard, who, I keep up with the prospects. Evan Bouchard is an elite prospect. And, obviously Adam Larson is your stay-at-home horse, right? I did not see the big need to spend that money on Tyson Barrie. Evan Bouchard.
Isn't he second in defensive scoring?
There's talent there.
Yep. And then if you look at the primary even strength points, which is not analytics, he is at an 82 game pace. He's at 15 points. Tyson Berry is. Evan Bouchard. This is at last.
But they still get power play opportunities, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Is the power play better this season?
He seems to be doing well enough with it.
It's doing very well. It's not better than it was with Oscar Klefbom. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't have Oscar Klefbom.
You got Darnell Nurse, and it cooks pretty well with Darnell Nurse too.
Don't get me started on fucking Darnell Nurse.
Do you hate Darnell Nurse?
I don't hate Darnell Nurse, and I'm eating my words right now because he had the fucking snipe like a week ago, and I was like, oh damn it, that was a nice snipe. I know he's at
a
10.
big play both ways, right?
Yeah.
Barry?
No, Nurse. Nurse is like a big play offensive.
I like Nurse a ton. I just don't like him as our go-to offensive defenseman.
See, and I don't either. I'm with you. Like, and I'm a big Darnell Nurse fan, but Darnell Nurse's points this year, this has been a fluky season as far as like his
Have
goals.
you seen his goals?
Yep.
Minus the snipe from a week ago.
Yeah, he's had a few.
I literally just bashed him, saying like, "Have you seen his goals? They're fucking terrible." And then he walked in and went,
I don't even know if that one was a good one for Hellebuck to give up, though. Do you?
Listen, you score that goal, Soups. You pumped?
Oh well, yeah.
I'm looking up the clock, going, yeah.
If I raised the puck,
I did that.
If I raised the puck,
I'm telling you what.
Ask your brother. I could barely do that.
Screw the goalie. That was a nice goal. He put it. He took a walked in. He had all the time. Goalie comes out. He puts it top cheddar. You're like, oh god.
I loved it as an Oiler fan. I just kind of thought
the five before that were like banked off this guy's foot, man. Banked off that guy. Ooh,
flutter screen.
Yeah, Shea Weber is gonna smack it in the net for me. It's like, what is going on here? The guy has horseshoes up.
You
his
know
ass.
what?
And you know what I'm worried about? We're gonna sign him for $8 million for the next 10 years. And you tell me what's worse: Nurse for 8 years at this ungodly contract, or Tyson Berry for another 3?
Tyson Berry
for another 3?
Why?
Yep.
No need. Shane, we got to pick up our level here.
Because there's no need for Tyson Berry.
I wasn't allowed to talk this episode.
No, I am fired up, but I like this because I do agree.
Oh, it's fair.
I'm a big Nurse fan, and I have been for a long time. And I've been saying that the kid's going to be coming. He's not going to take the same development path as most defensemen. Because I mean, look at his skill set. Look at his work ethic's legendary. He's 6'4". He skates incredibly well. Like, he had all the tools. In my opinion, when he was coming up, he never had to think the game because he was so gifted as a player. And it took him a while to figure it out in the league because he never had to think the game. Now he's getting to that point where he's able to think the game. You're not seeing... I'm still not saying that he's a shutdown defenseman by any means, or at least a high-end one. But I think with Nurse, he's cut out the big mistakes. I remember a goal. You guys remember the Habs game last year?
Nope.
Max Domi. You remember? You're a Domi fan.
It was
still making
Max
mistakes,
Domi
but...
mid.
It was November 22nd.
It was
a
Saturday
cold night.
It was
snow was flying.
It was a Saturday night in December, but who's counting? I'm a geek. Did I mention that I had a bad year? Anyway. But no, Domi walked him in a way like that. As a peewee, you'd be ashamed to get walked the way the Nurse got walked. You don't see those mistakes with Darnell Nurse. And it's not to say he's error-free by any means, but it's just you see him just going to another level.
He does have more tools in the old toolbox than Tyson Berry does.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, if we're talking ceiling, that's not comparable.
But I also think that the Oilers now don't have the type of Broberg. Broberg is a lot like Nurse. He doesn't have that physical edge like Nurse, but he's a lot like Nurse.
What do you think of Brady winning again?
It's awesome. It's absolutely fantastic.
I don't know who.
Chris King.
Who is the better athlete right now, LeBron or Brady?
That's easy. It's LeBron. You could cut off a leg.
Okay,
LeBron's a better athlete.
LeBron and Brady are each
Still
playing games on Christmas Day.
Hey, just when's the last time Brady had to play on the defensive end of the ball?
Well,
Never.
He's a quarterback, Chris. That's not how football works.
Oh, when he threw that pick against San Diego. And
I'm just listen. Oh man.
Why do you hate Brady so much?
Why do you not like other people having success?
The guy literally he doesn't in football. No player plays every single position. Has to play every.
Listen,
single...
I had this huge argument. Someone was telling me that Brady's the greatest of all time.
Well, you can argue that.
You
can't argue it.
You can't argue it because he doesn't play both sides of his game. Like you can say he's the best quarterback. We all agree. I think we all agree, right? Best quarterback.
Yeah, no
but you
doubt.
can't say he's the best athlete of all time because he doesn't have to play both sides of the game.
Well, yeah, that's when you get into an athlete and
now
player.
we're just getting into semantics.
You know, it's like when Derek Jeter retired, people were asking if he was one of the
So-
greats, and it's
so
it's
take
more
all
that
the-
he had the great career.
Deion Sanders could have played both sides.
Sure.
Come on, he could have.
But would he have won 37 Super Bowls?
Maybe 30. Listen,
Stop.
okay, here's my thing with Brady.
No. Stop that bullshit right there.
No.
He could have played. No, Deion, he could have played both sides of the ball, but he didn't.
Okay, so what you're saying is
what the hell is that?
we can't classify any football player in the greatest athletes.
Why has this guy
Well,
been
hold on. Did we say Deion couldn't play both sides? He
No.
did. Okay, sorry.
Did he play both sides?
Yeah, like he didn't play.
Yeah.
He didn't play a lot of.
Back
wide
it up.
receiver.
No.
Back it up. Back it up.
No, listen. Let's pull it back in.
Sorry,
You
Sean, I
said
didn't mean to throw you
if
under
he
the bus.
did play
I just-
both sides.
So-
You're saying he did play both
He
sides.
played a little
very,
wide receiver,
Very,
yeah.
very little. So fuck
But-
off.
He played
all right?
baseball
But
too.
could by that argument, then a baseball player, a pitcher can't be the greatest baseball player of all time.
Yeah, I struggle with pitchers, goalies, QBs. I struggle with that because if you're just saying like the greatest athletes, like I like the athletes that can affect both sides of the ball or whatever.
Doesn't a quarterback affect both sides of the ball?
No, he doesn't.
Why not?
He doesn't do anything on defense. He stands there.
He
and
doesn't.
hopes his team
He
gets
doesn't
a
play
stop.
defense, but he puts his team into a position to make the other team react.
So, how should we phrase this? If you are not on the ice, are you affecting the game?
Yes,
Taylor Hall apparently does.
Actually,
absolutely, you are.
leaders can.
So Brady's off the field for half the game.
Yeah.
Well, not in the Super Bowl. He was on the field for more than half the game.
LeBron, basketball is an interesting one because it's one of the very few sports where the superstar plays
Almost the whole game.
almost a home game.
Right.
Right. And you still
But
hate
to
LeBron
be-
and you're
yes.
a weird man.
To be fair,
Yes, that-
Harden doesn't play a lot of defense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he
that's-
does.
He's on the floor, but
No one's classifying Harden as.
Let's be honest.
I'm
In
just-
the
I'm
NBA,
playing-
does anyone play a lot of defense?
Once again, hockey players. Is there a difference between a guy that plays two-way or just forward? But like hockey player, McDavid's going to play 22 to 25
Yeah,
minutes?
he's going to play a third of the game.
Yeah. So I just think it's easier when you're saying like all-time great guys that affect everything, personally, as an athlete.
So you're saying there can't be an all-time great football player then because they don't play both sides?
I think there can be per position.
You're
If
an
you're
ass
saying
at
the
that.
greatest athletes of all time, you
So
can't
who
put
do
a
you-
football
so-
player in.
so who-
I don't think
So
you
who
can.
do you think is the greatest athlete of all time?
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Oh, I thought he was going to say Kobe.
I wondered if you were going to say Bo.
Bo is like up
Bo-
there because he potentially
excelled at both.
Well, before his hip went out, he would have continued to excel at both, which is pretty incredible. And Bo was excelling on offense and defense in baseball and football, dominating. But I just, in terms of dominating a sport, both sides, Jordan was the best that I've ever seen. Now, future generations are going to say someone else, but for me,
They're going to say LeBron.
can we talk about Brady? It is amazing.
I know that really pisses you off, but
Yeah,
that's
let's go.
exactly what they're going to say, is
I
it
know.
not? Like
Yeah.
who's-
The longevity
the guy
of LeBron is
Did he not
absolutely
return
unreal.
your letters?
What? Listen,
I hit it.
I think
That's
he
it.
might have-
Look at him.
I had to watch LeBron go through his quitting and pouting in Cleveland, and then I
Who wouldn't quit and potent Cleveland?
I struggle for the way he made the decision on national
Yeah, yeah.
TV.
There's a lot
and
of
then
ego
he
there.
had to bring dudes with him in Miami to win, and then I
Not
just
one,
Whoa.
not two.
Yeah.
Don't okay, that one I agree with.
Yeah.
Not one, not two. That was an
6.
overstatement.
Get-
And I would bring back the decision. I sometimes wonder if it wasn't, there was way more money involved. Well, we already know there was money
Yeah.
involved. Like you can't even fathom the pressure on him to do something like that.
I don't think he had any pressure.
apparently-
Bullshit. I bet you
guys-
he had pressure.
I know this-
100%.
He's getting his 25 million endorsements no matter what. Like if he plays in Cleveland or Miami, that doesn't matter. Like he's
You don't
getting his
think he
money.
got
Sure it
money to
matters.
do the
he gave
decision?
that he gave that money to the Boys and Girls Club. I think it was like $3 million or something, right?
Yeah,
He gave it to the Boys and Girls Club.
Sure.
What an asshole.
Well, okay, so he's making $25 million a year. He's making $25 million off NBA endorsements, and then whatever else. Do you think he really cares about $3 fucking million? Like,
I guess I'm gonna have to get him on and ask, because I would love to hear about the decision.
Yeah.
Hey?
Do you remember before the decision, Game 5 against Boston in the 2010 playoffs, and he quit? Like that.
yeah, he straight up quit. He just gave up, and those are things you can't erase out of your memory, right? Like,
Yeah, but I mean, shit. Look at Scotty old Pippen.
No tipping Pippen.
we're not calling Pippen the best of all time, are we?
No, that's true.
We're also not saying LeBron was the best of all time.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Okay.
We're just
Glad we're all agreeing here.
We're just pointing out the fact that you can't cheer for your team while LeBron's there. It's really messed up.
Winning them championships. What a jerk. Giving it kids.
You put an asterisk beside it. It goes up, and there's an ad. What's the asterisk for?
That's
LeBron was
LeBron
on
years.
the team.
Okay, I do have a problem that he tried to make it the narrative from his PR camp about how hard it was to win the COVID year. Let's be honest, like I really struggle with that. That wasn't the hardest championship of all time in NBA. If you want to say beating Golden State, sure, that was really impressive. That was really impressive. But don't give me that was the hardest championship.
That
of all
Miami
time.
team was not good.
Yeah, like. Anyways,
It was an underwhelming final.
you got to get me off of this. Let's
What
get
did
on
you-
to Brady.
Well,
Let's
no.
get on to Brady.
Well, I thought Brady was fucking kick ass.
Absolutely.
I think how many people at the start of that season thought he was going to fall flat on his face, and I tell you what, yeah, Kinger's got his hand raised. There was more than that. They're like, he's going to be fucking terrible.
Now, on the flip side, I would say for a chunk of the season, he was average. He was an average QB.
The first 4 or 5 games.
Ooh,
And
it
there-
might
there's
go,
no-
it might go deeper than
No,
that.
no. Through the middle of the season, he was.
The only reason
that
everybody
defense
knew
was-
around start of December they're going to make the playoffs is because their schedule got so soft.
Yeah.
Going into the playoffs, and then they got Washington. Like that was ridiculous.
And that defense is unbelievable. That defense was so impressive through the playoffs. Like, and Brady, was it the first playoff game? Like Brady was not great.
Probably, against
especially like
Washington.
he played better a little bit later on. He was not great that game, but the defense was just unbelievable. I think it's one of those things. Am I happy Brady won? No. But that
Do I
team,
wish well for him and his family?
Listen.
No.
That was the best team. That was the best team. They deserved to win, and he did a good job managing clock. I thought he managed the game well. He's a veteran QB. He did what he is probably the only guy that can do that at that age. Did I think he was the best QB in the league? No, but you got to tip your hat to him.
The MVP of that Super Bowl might have been the injury situation on the Chiefs O-line because
they
Patrick
were
Mahomes-
decimated. Mahomes was the fact that he was making some of those
Yeah.
throws and even getting them off.
He is special.
The whole game, I'm like, how is this happening?
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
He's gonna die tonight, and every throw was.
I should have followed in father's footsteps as a pitcher.
Every throw was like fingertip away from a completion. Like,
Yeah, his receivers did him no favors.
my takeaway from the Super Bowl is Mahomes is unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway.
And yet, Brady in his 40s. Hey,
Oh,
Brady in his 40s, whether you like how he does it or not, whether he's playing the defense or not, right? Whether he
Sean
has,
did the happy fingers there.
whether he's throwing these crazy throws or not, wins another Super Bowl.
Chris King, big George Blanda fan, both
Just-
quarterback and kicker.
Just wins another
Hey.
Super Bowl, Kinger.
What did Tampa do? I thought Tampa did a really good job throughout the year, and they didn't do it early. Well, one, he was out of shape, and two, he was just blocking. But they did what made Brady successful in New England. 6-yard dump offs to the tight end, 6-yard like up the middle, short throws that he can complete. You can't
ain't
really
broke,
intercept.
don't fix it.
Yeah, but they didn't start the year like that. They were trying to get him to throw down the field, and that's why it looked pretty bad to start. And then once he got comfortable, and obviously Tom having the respect he did probably helped them change the playbook.
Yeah.
And it was almost like watching the Patriots. Like it felt like I was watching the Patriots again. Double tight end,
They
dump
had
off,
Gronk
dump
out
off.
there too.
Yeah.
Like,
Gronk's getting 6 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, of course. Like that might have bothered me just
See,
as
that's
much.
where
That
you
bothered
need
me
to
just
get
as
on
much.
There, Sean is.
anybody watch any movies over the COVID year? I had the short story of we got talking about the popcorn. I went and saw Tenet. Anybody seen Tenet yet?
I still haven't seen it. You told me to watch it.
Haven't watched it. Didn't do the homework.
I got a tenant for my condo.
All right. Well, not the same type of Tenet.
Oh,
but anyways,
okay.
Tenant, one's tenant.
Oh,
Yeah,
Right in there, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, Christopher Nolan, favorite director, fantastic. Did Tenet, and I watched it back-to-back nights in the theater. Okay, went with my wife. She fell asleep, and when she woke up, she's like, "That was terrible. Thanks for bringing me this to it." And I was like, "That was fantastic." I still don't know what happened because it's the first movie I've ever watched going back to like Memento. Remember Memento,
Yeah.
where it takes you 3/4 of the movie to finally
breaks
pick up
a little bit, yeah.
to finally go like, oh, this makes sense. Like Tenet, up until the last like 5 minutes, you're kind of like, I can't even get my brain to think fast enough for this movie. So then the next night I went with my brother Dustin. I was like, we'll see if maybe it was just me and I was slow.
Dustin's
whatever.
a smart guy.
Yeah, that's right. And I watched it a second time and I was still trying to keep up with it. And Dust comes out of there and he's like, I still don't know what just happened. I'm like, thank God it just isn't me. But it was fantastic. I've watched it twice now, back to back. I thought it was great.
I've meant to watch it, but I haven't watched it.
It's saved on my list. But
Anybody gone to the movie theater since?
We went and watched Raya.
Was it any good? Yeah, the
It
Disney
was
one?
pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's like $34 on Disney right now. I'm
Yeah.
waiting for it to come down
Yeah, good
to
call.
free.
It was.
I want it free.
It was
2023.
The kids liked it. There's dad-daughter stuff, so you'll get the little tear coming out of the side of your eye and that sort of thing. But it was good.
We went and saw something awful one night, and I can't remember what it was. It was a new movie. Like, I've been probably 5 times.
Really?
You've been 5 times?
Probably something like that. But
So
I
you've
think
got the good
only
one.
one movie was new. Like, remember when it first?
Oh, they were showing, like,
opened up?
Star Wars and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
and it was just an excuse to have a date night. But
Mhm.
you know, we went to some. I can't remember what it was, but it was terrible.
Stuck with you then.
That it didn't even until we started talking about it. It was about 3 months ago. Awful, just awful. I wish I could remember what it was, just
What
so
was
I
it
could
about?
patch it. It was about being awful.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I'm sorry, I know that's not a good story, but it was terrible, and I wish. And it's going to be one of those things we're going to get on something else, and then I'm going to say, "Hey, I remember."
Well, we talked about The Last Dance. Did we bring up what is a show you've watched that isn't The Last Dance in
I
the
got
COVID
one.
world?
I got
What is something you've been digging?
I watched the Defiant ones on Netflix. It's Dr. Dre and Jimmy Levine.
Don't know what that is.
His producer.
It's a medical show?
Yeah, it's basically about how Jimmy started off producing and how he kind of jumped from like place to place and how Dre came up in it. It was pretty cool how they came together and made beats and stuff like that. It was, I think it's like 6 or 7 parts. I ended up watching it one whole night, and I don't get to binge watch ever. So that was one of those shows that I watched and I crushed it.
Says the guy who's watched The Last Dance 10 times.
Yeah.
That I do.
Never
That's
binge
true.
watch.
Yeah, I
ever.
never watch. I don't binge watch anything except for everything.
Except for one show all the time. And Last Chance You. There you go.
Everyone around here seems to be watching Yellowstone. I couldn't get into
It's
it.
amazing.
I couldn't get into it.
That was my show. I got into Yellowstone hard.
I was on that train before the COVID hit.
Right.
Sure you were.
Early adopter, proud to say. Happened to be because I bought it on iTunes to distract my wife so I could play golf and video games. And then I came home one night and she was watching an episode. And by this time, I'd already had to buy her the second season because she went through the first season way too damn fast. And then I found myself into it, and fantastic.
We live in a very similar situation, at least those of us who grew up north of Lloydminster, right, Sean? We grew up in a very similar setting to Yellowstone, in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Without the
Yeah,
gang sort of deals?
the murders don't really happen around here. Maybe it's different in Montana, right?
I keep telling the wife, she's like, this isn't the way cowboys and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it's a cowboy.
Cowboy mob show. Gang show.
God, like, what is up with my brain tonight? What's the biker show that was huge? Sons
Sons
of
of
Anarchy. It's
Terrible
Yellowstone. It's.
But I kind of believe that the biker
I
gang is shooting and killing everyone.
No,
I don't
no,
really
you
believe.
don't.
I don't believe that my neighbor Ron Noble is shooting and killing everyone.
I tell you
That's
what,
where you're wrong.
Sons of Anarchy is horseshit in a bunch of different ways. But all Yellowstone.
That's a terrible
of course,
show.
You can say about every show.
No,
So-
it's fine.
No, Sons of
But-
Anarchy is one of
but
the worst shows I've ever
Sons
watched.
of Anarchy, Yellowstone are the same fucking thing, just different setting, right? Different main characters.
I'm not.
Cowboys, bikers.
I'm not
we're
trying-
gonna kill people in the open, and we're never gonna get caught. And it's never an eyebrow raised ever.
No,
Ever.
Yellowstone's eyebrows raised. They just get past it. I watched
Both are still good though. I
a
like
new
both.
show. I don't know if anybody's seen it yet, but I watched Breaking Bad. It's a new show.
What's this now?
It's about a guy who's a teacher.
What's the guy's name?
His name's Walter White.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a high school chemistry teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Runs into some. I don't want to spoil anything.
No.
Because, like I said, I'm probably the first person to watch it.
I've never
runs into some health issues.
That doesn't sound good.
Has to make some hard decisions. And
Did you watch all the seasons?
I've watched the whole thing. Yeah.
Well, there's more than one season.
Did you watch
8
them all
seasons.
like during COVID? That's what I'm saying.
That's correct.
You started and crushed.
I
the
actually
whole thing.
remember
Finished the whole thing.
I remember that you still hadn't watched it when we were
Yeah.
doing the games last
It's
year.
good, eh?
Like that's my favorite. That's
You
my
guys have
favorite.
seen it?
Once.
Oh, interesting.
Like one episode.
Interesting.
I gave up on it though. I said this show is terrible, and everyone will
When-
agree.
When I first I tried watching it when it first came out, and I didn't like it. I just
It
didn't-
does take like 4.
It didn't
episodes
catch
to
me.
Get into, but
and then I pounded it. Like I watched. There's 8 seasons, I think.
Isn't
five,
there
kinda
5 or
There's
6?
there's a movie.
Whatever
now,
the hell
too.
there is.
It-
And there's
yeah.
a movie El Camino. I haven't watched it yet. It's coming up.
Yeah, it's okay.
yeah,
But I watched the entire thing in a month.
yeah.
I bet you. That's a lot of episodes. I'm not necessarily proud of it.
I gotta
It's
be
hard.
honest. That show is awful. Well, not awful. Boring. And then you hit that one scene in it, and you're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god!"
Shit goes. Oh,
So then
damn.
you watch 4 more of like,
Dragging through.
and then you hit the one scene again. You're like, "Oh, wow!"
It's
And that's the entire thing.
Yeah.
It's good, but there's like these 30-second scenes spaced out that are unbelievable.
I felt it just built the whole way. Like maybe we're talking about it in a different sense, but I just felt it just built and built and built to where our good friend Chris Roberts. I remember he was watching it long before anyone, and he said, "Oh, that shit's not going to end well." When it was about the start of the 5th season.
To say though, like I struggled without live sports, like for the
yeah.
big chunk, like because I'm not a heavy Netflix guy, so I really struggled with that. I found myself getting deep down the comedian wormholes.
Oh, yeah.
So I've now watched every Chappelle
Yeah,
episode.
but Chappelle's, yeah.
Like since he came back, I didn't realize how good that stuff was since he came back. And every night I'm like, "Hon, you gotta come watch this." She's like, "I can't watch an hour stand up again of Chappelle." I'm like, "No, it's better than the last one. It's better than the last one."
whose specials I watched on loop almost. And then my 13-year-old is talking to me about him the other day. Is John Mulaney? That is one funny son of a bitch. Oh man, he's good.
Beard? He's got
No,
the beard?
skinny guy, wears a suit and tie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's hilarious.
Okay. We know Kinger's got to get out of here at some point. He's got other things. He scheduled things for after this, which was
Bad life plan.
a bad life plan.
Fail.
Coaching?
Planning Christmas.
We'll go to the Curd Master Final 5. All right.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Can I pour another whiskey?
Yeah, absolutely. A whole bunch of people have been asking our COVID thoughts on, I don't know, thoughts on the United States opening up. Texas has been a big one. Thoughts on COVID vaccinations, whether kids need to get it because they're not, they're not in the area of susceptibility per se. Does anyone care to have any thoughts on this, or are you all just skipping by it? It's fine either way. But does anyone have any strong thoughts or thoughts on it? Not strong.
No strong thoughts. If you want it, get it. If you don't, don't.
What happens if they put in passport thing?
Then
Okay,
I'll get
that's
it.
I'm getting it for sure. There's no question about it. But
yeah, you're in the education system.
Yeah.
I think my
I
wife.
think I'll probably need it to coach, to be honest.
Well, my wife's a teacher, and we have family in the States. It's like, just give it to us already so we can go.
That's
right?
my biggest thing. I have customers in the States that I can't see or service or properly work with. So yeah, if that was a matter of get it and go, I'd get it.
What if it meant you don't have to go back to St. Louis? Do you want to tell that story?
I think I'll make the conscious decision never to go back to St. Louis.
I'm guessing you never told King or Sean that one.
I'm curious.
Right, buckle up.
Is it a 1 to 2 minute?
None of my stories are 1 to 2 minutes, Kinger, and you know that. So we go to
Welcome to the Shane Tomayer show.
Yeah,
All right.
We go to. It's not so much funny as terrifying. We go to St. Louis for work. We're there. We decide to head downtown one night. Get the Uber, head downtown, have some supper, have some drinks. This was actually my last work business trip before the world closed, and this week was my first one since. But anyway, we go down there and have a great time. We've had a couple pops. We call another Uber to head back to the hotel, and guys driving us heading back towards where our place is. We're chatting and having a good time, and I'm sure inappropriate things are said. But the car pulls over at this gas station that is clearly not on the interstate because it's a gas station and not where we should be. And as we pull into it, I look, and there's like row housing behind it, not a light to be seen. There's not a street light to be seen. There's the dim light coming out of the convenience store at the gas station. There's a light of the pumps, and other than that, there is nothing. I went, what are we? I said, you grabbing some darts or what are we doing? He's like, get out. And the 4 or 5 of us look at each other like, well, we don't need anything. What? I didn't ask you to stop at the store. He's like, no, I'm not taking you guys any farther. Get out. I went, well, that doesn't seem like a good plan. Like, just take us to our hotel. He said, no, get out. So we get out. And fine. One of us will use a different Uber account. We'll get another car. So we got out. He squeals out of there like he's on a racetrack. Off he goes. We go into the convenience store. Oh, this is a great time to get an ice cream sandwich, maybe some gum, chocolate bar, chips, the things you need after several drinks. And we go into the gas station. First time I've seen this. One, there is inch-thick plexiglass in front of the cashier, all the way around. He's in a bubble, and not in today's sense of a bubble. But there's a guy right inside the door, a rather large human being, I might add, like shockingly large. And
like, are we talking large in the sense of height?
Both.
Or like with like
I am saying
heavy.
that he is a 6'4" can of Coke.
Okay.
Just a tube top to bottom.
All right.
He's a large human being. So I thought, well, I'll chat. That's what I do after a couple of drinks. How's it going?
Is he? Is that what happens?
No doubt,
King,
eh? No way.
You don't say.
Yeah. How's it going? How's the night? And he looked through me like I was a ghost. Didn't respond. Didn't blink. Didn't tell me to piss off, mind my own business. Just looked right through me and I went, cool. So I go and I grab myself a Klondike bar out of the freezer.
You would be a Klondike bar.
Not a pizza sub?
No, it wasn't a pizza sub kind of night.
Still weedy.
So we pay for our stuff. The other Uber is already texting us and saying, I'm leaving in 30 seconds. I'm like, well, this is odd. And he is parked out away from the building in what we now realize, or we realize later, is a strategic position where he can leave quickly. We get out of the store. We hustle across because he's like honking his horn as if he's picking us up to go to the party, and we've been waiting inside for 15 minutes. So we get up to the car. As I get my hand on the door, he unlocks it. Get in. All of us pile in. And he is gone. Like, the doors aren't closed, and he's driving. I went, what's the rush, bud? He's like, what are you doing here? I might say that it is, we are all very Caucasian, and we are not in a Caucasian neighborhood, which is fine. I got no problem with it. But he's like, what are you doing here? He said, well, another Uber driver kicked us out. And the look on this guy's face is like, holy crap. So he's like, yeah, you shouldn't be here. You're lucky you got into the car. And if you were seconds longer, I was driving away without you. He's like, the fact that you even got an Uber in this neighborhood is shocking. I just happened to be a mile away. And so I took the call. Interesting. So get back to the hotel. The other guys, they were a little freaked out by it. I was intoxicated, as I mentioned. So they go back to the rooms, and I'm like, the hotel that we're staying at has a casino in it. I'm going to go down, maybe play a game or two, have a drink in the lounge, whatever.
Blackjack.
Yeah. Roulette, whichever. So I'm heading down there, and our bartender, who was serving us earlier and had recommended some spots downtown for us to go, sees me walking by, waves me in. So I go in and I sit down, and we're having a chat. And he's like, "How was the night?" I was like, "That was really good. It ended odd." And he says, "Oh?" So I regale what I've just regaled for you. And he's like, "Oh, you almost died." I went, "What do you mean we almost died?" He said, "One, fun fact, St. Louis is the murder capital for tourists in the United States." Interesting.
Didn't tell you that before.
No, they don't have that on the sign when you come into town.
Not per capita, though.
I have no idea. But he says, you got set up to get robbed and probably killed. Simple as that. I went, huh, interesting. He's like, as soon as you left that interstate, you were in trouble. I went, good to know. So, fun fact, go to St. Louis, lovely city. The brewery tour is fantastic. Maybe have a designated driver.
The tour of East St. Louis isn't quite the same.
It's not as nice.
I can't remember how we got there.
So
but that
no
is a
to
good
COVID.
Yeah.
So get your vaccines.
We started all this out.
That was vaccine.
That was vaccine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Soups brought it up. And I'm like a dancing monkey. He told me to tell a story. I tell a story.
Like,
Fair.
hey, can we get some thoughts on kids getting vaccinated and opening up and what's going on? Let's talk about
Don't
it.
go to
Almost
St. Louis.
dying in St. Louis.
Oh,
Don't
man, I
go
might
there.
have to set him up for another one. This whiskey is just delicious.
Might have to
Shall
take a 10-minute
we
pause.
re-sign Tyson Berry?
Next.
I think we settled on a yes on that. Is that right?
That came in. That's a real question.
No. In all seriousness, no.
1 year?
Even at a good deal?
Come on.
Well, it's like
Soups.
Taylor Hall. What's the deal? What are we talking
You
about?
just said you would sign Taylor Hall for
Yeah,
the deal.
no. I said I would if it's cheap enough, right? So what are we talking? for
$5
Tyson?
million for a year.
No,
$5 million for a year?
No.
Interesting.
No love. What's he making now? 4 and change?
3.75.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm a geek. This is all I have. That sounds dark, doesn't it? Tell us more about how you nearly got killed.
Look
How
at
does your girlfriend and your dog feel about that?
Can we just shine some light on how Kinger has to sign in to something and he's busy and he probably needs to leave.
Are we Zoom coaching tonight, there, Kinger? Yep.
No comment. Who would win?
My mic doesn't work.
Who would win in a Newman Brother Royal Rumble?
Ooh.
Who would win in a Newman Brother Royal Rumble? That comes in from Vic. Vic. Man, the way my night has been
Holy
going.
moly.
Nick Von Dubs. Like, just stop laughing at me, Kinger. Leave me
I
alone.
want to come back on the show. Who do I say, Shane?
I'll start this one off. I'm going to go with Sean because he for sure...
Hey,
no,
that's
listen,
a guy who's
listen,
been on the show
listen,
a few times,
hear me out on this.
No, he
He's
doesn't
getting
pay
that
him
punch card
off,
clicked
guys.
again.
Easily the dirtiest one.
Ooh.
Easily.
Ooh.
And we'll do anything to win.
Second point I'll take. I will take
Those
the
aren't
second
bad
point.
qualities.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a little outside the box, and this is not going to be the popular answer. This is not going to be what everybody else is thinking. I'm going with Dustin Newman. And here's why.
Tomayer not coming back on anytime soon.
You'll appreciate this, though, I think. Dustin Newman is cerebral. So there's, 9 of you brothers?
4 brothers.
Okay. So while 3 of you are throwing haymakers at each other, and it's a brawl, Dustin's going to sneak around the outside. He's going to let you guys tire yourselves out. He's probably learned jujitsu while you guys are fighting. And he's going to come in and snap something on you and you're done for.
That is a fair point. I will address that after I hear Soups' comment.
And I think as nice and mild-mannered as Dustin is, I think there's some darkness in there. And he's going to snap.
Darkness in all of us, isn't there?
It's bad
Soups,
night.
what do you think?
I'm going to go with you because Harley used to kick my ass playing hockey just like Kaner did. And, I just want to be contrarian to Shane.
I'll say this. Okay, I'll answer your 2 points. I like Kaner's answer because I will do anything to win.
Sure.
That means being dirty. Dustin has been taking jiu-jitsu.
No shit. That was just a random statement.
Yeah, he has. So Dustin,
last year, right? Last year?
All year, yeah.
Wow.
So Dustin is probably the most lethal. But he used to take karate, and he used to do this funny thing where he'd show you these kicks, and then I'd just pile drive him into the ground and be like, oh, yeah, what are your kicks on in this, you ass?
There's a lot of anger in that.
Yeah, there is, because he thought he was so fucking suave with his kicks. Anyways, jiu-jitsu is a different...
it's a different beast.
Yeah, it is. In saying that, I still think I could beat him. The one that scares me is Soups' answer. Harley is a guy who is a big guy, right? Like he's got the build of an athlete.
Yeah.
Like he's a big, lanky son of a gun, and he catches on to things quick. And if I learned anything about Harles, when you get him mad, he is meaner and dirtier than me.
Yeah.
And that is saying something for a guy who outweighs me, is bigger than me. And, he's knocked the wind out of me several times.
We were talking about this before we went to air. Like, when I was growing up playing against Harley, the one thing I remember is he always had a smile on his face, and you couldn't do anything to him.
You can't trust a guy like that.
Like, it's almost like he had that confidence that, like, yeah, I know you can't do anything to me, right? And that confidence is...
But he wasn't mean. So he
no.
He was never a fighter, right? Like, guys want him to fight because he's big.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight. Oh. But if you picked at him, which I did, and you picked at him long enough, which I did, he would knock the wind out of you, and it hurt. And when he lost his temper, he is the scariest human, which I do find funny here, though. 4 guys did not bring up the eldest, Jay. Sorry, Jay. You're on the bottom of the totem pole, buddy, and I guess you're losing.
I brought him up last time. Remember?
I know you did, yeah.
Just so we're clear. Moving on.
Oilers D is the young guys are coming up, meaning we got lots of depth. We've talked a little bit about this. This is Nick Von Dubs again. He said, when is it time to make a deal to allow those guys to come up? Would you be trading Tyson Barrie then?
I would. I know they won't, but I would be comfortable rolling with Evan Bouchard. Not necessarily in the Barrie spot right now. I'd probably bump Bear back up to that top pair with Nurse, and then Bouchard slides into Bear's spot. But, I mean, I've said a lot about the Oilers tonight, so I want to give you boys a...
I've got no comment. I don't follow the Oilers at all. I don't have games.
I think if this is the Oilers' year to win, I keep everything that's going on.
And that's fair.
And try and bring in instead of subtracting. Tyson Barrie, whether you
smart management.
I don't know. You only got him for this year. You have what I loved about the deal, honestly, 3.75 for 1 year. Fuck.
Oh, I never argued with anyone over the.
And then if he
asked
for $6 million for 6 years, you go, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
We'll see you later.
Yes.
And if he comes back and says $4 million for 3, you go, I don't mind that. You still say no.
I mind that.
4 years for $3 million, or 3 years for $4 million.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that.
No.
Open market, he's going to be a lot more than that, though.
I know he is.
Yeah.
But you're the Oilers, so you're going to have first crack, which usually means you can kind of work the deal. Maybe.
Yeah, and if he feels that there's some potential there for a championship, why wouldn't you?
That's right.
I mean, you've already made 20 whatever in your career. God.
Here's your final one, okay? Final one of the night. Who is the most famous? I was in an argument about this a couple days ago. Who is the most famous Lloydminster person ever come out of the town?
So to come out of town, not necessarily in town.
Are we talking Lloydminster proper, or do we include the Hillmons, the Kits guys, and
I will give it
the GLA.
I'll give the GLA. Yeah, absolutely. I would say Vermilion's too far.
Yep.
Mainstone's too far.
Okay. Half an hour radius.
Kid Scotty, Lashburn.
Yeah. And what? PV?
Yeah,
Marwayne,
PV,
maybe.
Yeah.
Right? Like that kind of circle. And my stipulation probably is Keith Morrison came up in the conversation. Keith Morrison was born here, but I don't think Keith Morrison...
He doesn't say he's from Lloydminster.
That's right.
It's like Colby too, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's like, who's the guy who is from Lloyd, talks to Lloyd, represents Lloyd? Who's the most famous you got? Or girl, for that matter.
Huh.
Wade's the first one that comes to my mind. I'm not
Wade,
sure if it is.
Wade and Scott jumped to my brain
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
But I'm trying to think of somebody who's not an athlete.
Scott
Yeah.
for me, I would say.
Yeah.
Hartnell?
Yeah.
He is an accomplished author.
I just think he did really well with the media. I think,
Yeah.
like for all the guys that come out of here that play in the NHL, I think he did well with the media.
His brand.
Got in some movies, his branded well, flow, like the whole thing. I would say Scott probably. Yeah.
I still read his book to my kid. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't believe nobody said Braden Holtby.
Oh yeah, jeez.
Well, currently he would be.
But not all time. Stanley Cup winner. Vezina.
Yeah.
I think
This
Scott
is
was a bigger name.
This
though.
is once again one of those things that goalies don't get the glamour that sometimes players get. I don't think. I see Holtby around all the time, and I give him the little head nod when you see him.
And he's always like, "Why does that guy have a twitch?"
Yeah, what's wrong with that guy? Why does he keep nodding at me?
So after Braden's rookie year, when he had that run in 2012 with the Caps, and they got knocked out by the Rangers in 7, and I had a Triton Rangers hat on in Booster Juice one day, and he was just staring daggers at me. And hold on, Kinger's got to take that. And
It's his mom. They're doing the Chinese Christmas exchange draw.
That's right.
oh man, we didn't even get to. Is he coming back?
He's locked out.
Oh, he's locked out. So do we say bye? Is he gone for good?
I don't know. We don't know what Chris is doing. He's left us, folks.
When you're
He's
that
obvious-
handsome, you make the rules yourself.
Yeah, he's left us for a time.
He's a mystery wrapped up in an enigma.
Is there somebody that isn't a hockey player that's come out of Lloyd that you can think of? I know we're all hockey guys in here, so that's a
I know
tough
that's
question.
where we go automatically, right? I don't know. I've broadcast a few hundred hockey games in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. I think I have a lot of notoriety.
Yep.
Couple hundred Twitter followers.
Yep. Sean Newman's up there.
No, I'm not.
Yep.
No,
You
I am
are.
not.
Yep.
You absolutely
Yeah.
are.
That's what he was aiming for
That
with
was
this
not what I
question.
was aiming for.
He was aiming for, hey guys, have I become the most famous person?
Fuck you.
Have you guys noticed my bike sitting a little low? I could use a tire pump over here. But think about who you've talked to in the last.
Yeah.
we should
That
talk
means
about that.
We
We talk about how everybody's year went.
Yeah, that's a whole
Look
load
at-
of horse.
Yeah, we were like the biggest guest you had on last time around.
Yeah.
And you blew us out of the water after
And
that.
you
Just
followed
to make
us
us
up
feel
with-
bad.
with Don
I'm cutting
Cherry
this
and Ron
off. This is
McClain.
not where I meant this to go.
That's Sean Newman. What a guy.
Tim McAuliffe, no media prior to Tim and Friends, but he does one show.
Yeah, I was pretty cool about that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
You should be pumped about that, man. That was awesome.
I really liked Tim.
Yeah.
You know the thing that scares
He's
me?
one of
Never
my
watched the
favorites.
I couldn't stand Tim and Sid.
No, you couldn't stand Sid.
You couldn't. I couldn't stand Sid, but I still liked the show because I really liked Tim.
awesome.
Never
Yeah.
watched it. I couldn't do it.
You know the thing that troubles me about Tim, actually about even Onright, is, and this goes back to when I interviewed Reed Wilkins, is it like we all look at him and like, I don't know, I look at him, I'm like, oh, you're doing so well. And then when you talk to them, they're fucking depressed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how the hell does that make any sense? You're doing what I want to do. What am I missing? And Tim McAuliffe goes, looks like you're doing really good. You've been doing well for yourself. And I'm like, I don't know. Big fish, small pond, maybe. I need to find a small pond. Is exactly what he says.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It
what?
beats you down, I think, eh? Like,
It must.
That's how I
Yeah,
felt on
yeah.
the AJHL circuit. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Damn that Tyler King.
But I mean, that is not what I was searching for. Actually, I always give lots of credit to Brandy Hofer because she's
Yep,
like a very
yep.
successful artist.
And you know what? I had to have, and I mean, Chucky's a very good friend of mine, but I kind of had to have that brought to my attention. I hate to say, sorry, Brandy. It's that,
She's
that
super,
how famous she was.
super successful.
Yeah.
Is the better word.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Talented.
She
Where's
was.
that whiskey? Let's have another couple of those. Cause
I tell you what, White Buffalo that I'm supposed to get on in May, Cal Nichols. He's another guy from the area who's super
P. Hill, right?
P. Hill, St. Walburg. He's the guy who saved the Oilers, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
nobody really knows that story, and I'm really hoping in May.
SOS 1998.
That's right.
Yep.
right? Like I still, as a kid, things that are imprinted on my mind is church, the world's ending, Armageddon's coming, and 2, the Oilers are moving and we're losing the team, and I must have bawled and had that SOS fucking thing on my wall. And was like,
You had
we
that
can't,
too, eh?
we can't lose the Oilers. And then we got them saved, and everybody loved them, and there was such camaraderie.
Les Alexander from Houston trying to buy them.
That's right.
The biggest heel of all time. He was the Vince McMahon, which ironically at that time Vince McMahon.
Whoa! Bonus question: CFL XFL merger.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Interesting.
If the Rock became part of the CFL again, is that not the greatest thing that has ever happened in the CFL?
Your purists would say absolutely not.
Who gives a shit what the purists think? I don't really give a fuck.
Unfortunately, that's most of what the CFL has, though.
Maybe that's their problem.
But this is what turns that, though. You know, the NFL has the glitz and the glamour and the splash, and that's what the CFL. The CFL is the prairie equivalent of professional football.
Yeah,
that you're small town. You're not worried about the big lights. You've got a product. You know it's great, and you live and die by it because you know it's the best in your mind and in your heart, right? But Dwayne Johnson will take that league and blow it up, right? They've done the U.S. thing before. It didn't fly very far, but if they get some U.S. expansion again, and Dwayne Johnson on his Instagram or whatever the hell it is every day talking about the CFL, XFL, holy crap, that could be huge for the league. You want to look
that
at
makes me a fan again. That
right.
It's intriguing for sure.
Yeah. Dwayne, and let me be very clear. Go Riders, go! Like I'm all over.
Well said. Good.
Right. But overall in the league, I'm kind of like fair weather.
I'm the same.
Like I love the playoffs, just like any other sport.
Yeah.
I love the Rough Riders. If the Rough Riders are in Lloyd, I go to more games, but they're in Regina, which means it's a long ass trip. And how many now that you have kids? How many times you go in there? Not very often.
A couple times a year.
That's right. Well, for you, it's a couple times a year. I'm like once every 5 years.
Yeah. One of us just got back from Regina.
Sure did.
Jeez.
Anyways, all I'm saying
Love
is
that
The
city.
Rock comes into there. It's all of a sudden instant credibility, and the doors that guy opens up. And
Huge.
now instead of having, I don't know, who, like BTO playing your halftime show, now you got like some names coming in and play, and it is just instant credibility.
Changes. Everything changes.
Because that guy just, that
It's
is
incredible.
a name. If it was Vince McMahon, I'd be like, that feels cheesy.
That's hokey, and I'm not interested.
Yeah. Instead, it's The Rock. And I'm like,
An alumni of the league, no less.
I can get behind that. I can really get behind that.
It's interesting.
If he does it the right way. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there is, and I don't know what the way is exactly, but, you know, I think it just depends on what he's going to do with it. Like, I think the way you're envisioning it is like, 100%. I agree. But
I assume he doesn't want to come in.
Is he blowing up the tradition and all that stuff? Like, that's, the great unknown, right?
But in fairness to The Rock, I just assume he thinks like I think. Do you ever want to blow up the tradition of any league, especially that's gone as long as the Grey Cup? Yeah. You should embrace that.
Well, did you see his Instagram post when it first came out? Yeah, and that gave me hope.
And to me, that said, we're going to embrace what's going on here because it has a long tradition. Yeah. You want to suck that in, every drop of it, because that's what makes a sport a sport. Yeah. You start up some great sport tomorrow, you got to wait 50 years for it to have all that, like, the passion of the fans, the rivalry, the everything. Yeah. It's all sitting there. It's all sitting there waiting for you. Yeah. And if you added in 10 U.S. teams, so be it. I don't think it would be that big a deal.
To me, to me, has been the biggest problem with the CFL is the size of it. It's too small, right? So you play, it's a 16-game season, I think. God, 18-game season. Yeah. But it's just so much repetition, and I've always said the CFL season doesn't start until Labor Day.
Oh, yeah, you're not.
You can lose your first 6 games, 7 games. It doesn't matter.
Teams can make the playoffs.
Exactly.
At 5 and 13 records, right?
Yeah. So it's
not uncommon.
It's one of those things. You add some depth. You add some extra teams. You still have your 18-game season, but each game matters a little bit more, right? That's what the NFL has is that you lose 5 games. Well, you're watching come December. You just know.
Yeah. And NFL is a spectacle, man.
It is.
Every last little, I didn't believe in the little things at all. Every little thing matters until I was like second year of college and we started doing these little things and they added up.
Yeah.
And when you watch the NFL, every little thing matters.
Yeah.
Like they don't skip out on anything.
No.
Think about how many changes they've made to the extra point. Like, when they were doing that, I remember thinking, like, this is so pointless. Like, no pun intended, but like, this is just like, this is ridiculous that they're obsessing over this. But
here we are.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, boys, it's been a year and 2 days. Thanks for hopping back on.
So we'll see you in a year and 4 days.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll see each other.
Chris, thanks for coming out.
2.5 months. Nothing, Chris? All right.
So quiet. Humble.
Thanks for having us, buddy.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Anytime you want us, which means I'd like to come back twice a week.
Co-host?
Co-host, all right.
You could fit and soups under your sign there.
Yeah, I probably could. Actually, we could probably draw that in. Maybe we'll do that for this one. Thanks, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you, bud.
Hey, folks. Thanks for joining us today. If you just stumbled on the show, please click subscribe. Then scroll to the bottom and rate and leave a review. I promise it helps. Remember, every Monday and Wednesday, we will have a new guest sitting down to share their story. The Sean Newman Podcast is available for free on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever else you get your podcast fix. Until next time. Hey, Keeners. Hope you enjoyed us three knuckleheads, or us four knuckleheads, I should say, rambling on and having a good time. Hopefully it brightened up your Monday. I got to give a shout out today to Jonas Hagel. He gave me a call yesterday and just had listened to, once again, the Vance Crow episode and Tom Hoffman, actually, and Tom Hoffman. He had been listening to a few and just said he really enjoys what's going on here and just wanted to thank me for doing it and to keep doing it and keep pushing through. So thanks, Jonas, for reaching out. I do appreciate the texts and the phone calls. It's always great hearing from you guys and it just it's a cool feeling to know you guys are listening and following along with what I'm doing and enjoying it. So I'll ramble no more. Get back to work. If you're Larry and the snowstorm hit, he's probably hibernating with his feet up on the desk. Maybe go to work. All right. To the rest of you, we'll catch up to you on Hump Day.